sport fans watching around the world. This is the moment you've all been waiting for.
Let's get straight into the episode.
Yeah, we heading for the sun. Charlie got my high, I ain't tripping for the funds. Yeah, I won't start, I ain't tripping, I'm a stun.
Alright y'all, today's a Monday and Monday's after Docs. Thank you for clicking or tapping and let's start today's spew. And guys, you already know who it is. You read the title of the video. I'm very happy to be welcoming to Doxcast for the very first time, Deeans Journal.
Yo, what's good?
Yeah.
It's Deeans Journal here. Yeah, I'm just here kicking it with Doxy today. You know how it goes. So we're just going to have a yarn, just talk shit for a bit, and then, yeah, catch up.
Yeah, see what happens, eh? Yeah, gang, beautiful. All right, well, as I said to you off camera, my favourite episodes are meeting someone for the first time, all right?
Yeah, for sure. It
goes without saying, I have to give a shout out first to Saun, all right? Like, mad cunt, bro. He's been like just messaging me, bro, this guy's a mad guest, you know? Yeah, sick cunt, bro. Sent him through. Yeah. So big shout out to Saun for that. Yeah,
it's a big shout out to Saun for real. He plugged it bad. He gave me a crazy shout out. I was watching it at home when he sent it to me, and I was like, holy shit, what the hell?
Yeah.
I didn't know it. And then he was like, yeah, bro, like, I'm so keen to get working with you and stuff. But he said my name wrong. So if you're watching this, my name's Deeans, bro. It's not Dean. But other than that, it's calm. Yeah, Saun was showing mad love. He's always showed mad love too. Like, since he followed me, he's just always been like a very, like, he's just shown hella respect, hella love, hella appreciation for what I do. So yeah, it's just always been love for all the boys out, like from Metronome and them. All the boys that he works with, they're all real nice people, yeah. Yeah,
nice. All right, gang. Well, I thought we'd start the conversation along that line anyways, just like because for people who listen to my podcast like on a weekly basis, they would be familiar with the episode I did with Saun. Yeah. I'll put a link in the description for those who haven't seen that one yet, but he obviously mentioned his creative process behind, like, you know, not just his vision of what he sees himself going through with music, but we talked a lot about the creative expression involved in finding a passion, a pursuit, and interest. And then he mentioned like a bit of a crew kind of shared mentality that a few of you boys kind of have together as well. So how did you meet him in the first place? And you, as you said just then, he followed you, reached out. Is that how did it start in the beginning?
I think one of us followed each other, but we only like met in person like very recently. I think it was like last month where we actually met recently.
Wow.
Yeah, I was just with one of the homies after party. He works with Saun a lot.
I've actually been messaging after party. Actually, he's gonna come on.
He's
one he's
one of the homies. Yeah. I was just hanging out with him one day. We were shooting some stuff for just like a release that he was doing, and he was like, "Oh, do you want to come to the studio with me after?" And I was like, "Yeah, bet, why not?" And I went, and then Saun was there, and that's when we finally like introduced each other. Yeah, it was cool. He was playing me a couple tracks, and then we cooked some ideas for some stuff that's coming soon, hopefully.
Mad.
Yeah, it'll be gangster. It should be sweet, yeah.
I'm so keen to get into this whole creative idea of just finding a form of not just audio entertainment like Saun does, but visual entertainment as well. Yeah. I can't lie, my favourite thing to consume is anything visual anyway. Like, I'm finding more and more interest in not just aesthetical please when I'm watching something, but even the way things are shot and the way from camera angles to like music videos, all of that shit's always stood out to me. But before we go down that path, what I do know from you, and I'll share with the audience as well, is I know you from your videography, photography posts on Instagram and obviously through Saun as well. When did you first get interested in the first place when it comes to that kind of stuff?
So I've always grown up in a house full of art. That's just always been my upbringing. My dad, he's a journalist and he teaches photography. Not so much that I learned a lot from him just because he was always busy working, but he's been a great help to my career for sure. But my dad's always like brought me up around art, and my granddad, even from my mom's side, was a journalist. So I've always just grown up in media, and I've always just had an interest. I've always just been like intrigued by, like, when I was young, I used to paint, I used to play piano. Like, I've always just been like a creative person. And then I think it was like during COVID or something, I saved up a bit of money, and I was like, why don't I just buy a camera? Like, what am I like? Might as well.
Yeah.
And I bought a camera, and then since then, bro, it's just been like a snowball effect of like one thing leads to another, and then it just kind of just turns into like what it is today. Like, I didn't shoot my first video till last year.
Wow.
Last year, June. So it would have been a couple of days ago last year where I shot my first video. And it was just like at a whim thing. I was taking photos for a while, like more like corporate stuff, not so creative, more just like getting paid to do so.
Of course, yeah.
And then one of the boys after party, he was doing a show for one of my other close friends now Thursday, and he was like, "Oh, bro, like I'm doing a show. Do you want to pull up and record?" I was like, "I've never recorded before, but shit, I'll give it a try."
Mad.
And I did, and I fell in love with it, bro. Like I edited that video that same night, and back then I didn't know how to edit anything really. I was on CapCut just shoving effects in it. I'll try it. But
Gosh, shout out to CapCut. I love CapCut.
CapCut's the goat.
That's
CapCut's
so
the
good.
goat, bro. I've shot like I think 3 music videos on CapCut.
Yeah.
CapCut's the goat.
I use it for every caption I never need, bro. It's straight to CapCut.
Yeah, the auto captions is goated, bro.
Oh.
You can't complain.
Yeah.
But yeah, I shot that video, bro, and since then it's just like I just had a lot of faith in myself after that one because I kind of just knew like, okay, I'm not the best. I'm still not, but I've obviously improved since then. But I'm not the best, but I can figure it out.
Yeah.
And it gave me like that blind faith because I'm a type of person where I'll overthink and I'll overthink and I'll be like, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
But because they threw me in a situation where it was like, you kind of just have to do it. It's like a one-time chance. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then since then, bro, it's just been like, you meet other people through these things and then they like your work or they do this. And then, yeah, that's just how this all kind of started,
Yeah,
to be honest.
I love it, bro. I love it. To be honest, there's so many things. The way I orchestrate my thoughts while I'm doing a podcast too is I like to put pins when another person's saying. I like to go back and like try and catch up from there on. But the first thing I want to catch up was the camera you first bought. What was the camera you first bought?
My Sony A6 500, the love of my life. Still use that camera to this day. It's just a solid camera, and I bought it used too. It's so funny. The guy, when I bought it, he low-key scammed me because I didn't know how to check a camera back then. And I didn't realize that if you like raise up the aperture, or I guess raise down the aperture, you can see like if the sensor has dust on it or nothing, if the sensor's cracked or nothing. I didn't know. I was just like, hey, the camera turns on, takes a photo, I'll buy it.
Yeah.
Bought it, and I got home. It was like a real sunny day, and I was like real overexposed, and I just put the aperture down, and I was like, what the fuck? Why is there so many black spots in my camera? Yeah, then since then, I've upgraded and stuff, but that camera is generally the love of my life.
Yeah.
I learned so much because you learn a lot more when you don't have the highest tech because you kind of just have to pull it off. Like there's no, it's against the odds really. Like you just, you get this one, I had this one lens. You know about the pancake lenses? They're like that thick.
Bro, I gotta be honest, I know nothing when it comes to cameras, My entry level when it comes to anything to do with recording, even editing, is very new. Very new.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like the lenses you got now is like a 10 to 15, I think. It was a real wide lens and it's like pancake. So shit.
Yeah.
It's so shit. But I made it work. And yeah, it's just, you kind of just, my whole thing was just, I was just going to buy a camera and figure it out.
Yeah.
I was going to throw myself in the deep end and I'll figure it out.
Man.
And YouTube clutched up for me, so it worked out.
Yeah, I love that. That's so sick. So, what about now? What do you think if someone was to get into even filming or recording at all, and they didn't? I'm not saying they had an unlimited budget, but what's a realistic camera for someone to look at buying in today?
I'm a big Sony fan.
Yeah,
Sony through and through. I just think, especially for what I do, Sony colors and Sony technology just works for me a lot. I would recommend buying. Depends what your budget is, obviously. But if you're in that like $1,000 to $3,000 mark, you could get a used A7S III. Those are like
they're mad.
They're gangster cameras. Like those things, powerhouses. Or you could even get an A7 III, not as good as the A7S III, but still you can shoot solid videos and photos on them. Just anything from the Sony A line is pretty good. I can't lie. Or I'd recommend if you just want to save a bit more, FX30.
Oh, that's
FX30 is a good camera. Yeah. It's almost the same price as I think it's cheaper than A7S III new because it's a crop sensor, but A7S III is a solid A7S III or FX30. Yeah, that's what I would recommend for sure.
Yeah, nice. Because I'm definitely going to try and I'm asking for my own personal life anyway. Because I'm going to try and upgrade my shit in the next. I hope in the next 3 months or so. I want to just try and because they're good cameras. These ZV ones. What are they called?
Something
ZV
like that. Yeah.
They're good, but they're just not good enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
You can never upgrade too much. You know what I mean? Everyone loves upgrading. So
yeah, I know.
It works out. Yeah.
I fucking bought 4 of the fuckers too, which was so dumb. I should have just bought 1 or 2. Right?
You. I mean, where's the other ones?
There's 2 set up here for the streaming if I want to do streaming. But
yeah, I mean those. You could always use them later too.
Yeah.
And end of the day, they're cameras. I always tell people like when they ask me like, "Oh, bro, I want to buy a camera, but I don't know if I'll use it in the long run." I always tell them like, get a camera, bro. If you don't end up doing what I do or do whatever you want to do, you still have a camera. You can still capture moments, even if never post and never do nothing. You still like memories with your family and stuff. Like that stuff still matters. At the end of the day, like you don't have to make money out of everything that you get. So
Yeah.
it's always a good investment to just have something lying around that you can capture stuff with.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to definitely come back to that point on you don't have to make money off something to be able to buy something to use in the first place. But first I want to go down that route. You said that your dad was a journalist and into photography growing up.
Yeah.
Did you say your granddad was also, or did you say your mum was? Your
My granddad from my mom's side, yes.
Yeah, that's right. So that's awesome, to be honest, in the first place. Growing up, what type of things would he be looking at journaling about? Like, was it like, would he have to travel to go do stories, or was it more, what type of stuff was
So
he?
my dad was more in the photography side of journaling, for sure. He would more focus on his photography. He teaches photography as well. But he would just always introduce me to things that I guess now have shaped my like artistic abilities or my interests per se. Like he would show me like niche German short films, or like I would always like grow up around art. Like I remember this very vivid story from my childhood. Like I think it was like my 7th birthday or something, and we always had paintings in the house growing up. And one of the paintings was a naked woman, but it was like a very artistic painting. And my friends came over and they're like, "Ew, why is there a naked woman?" But I'm just like, "Bro, what? That's like normal. Like, what are you talking about?" Because to me, it wasn't like it wasn't
from a sexual
Yeah,
nature. It was from
yeah.
an artistic point of view.
yeah, it was more like I can appreciate it for what it is. It's not like I'm looking at it like, "Oh wow, it's a pair of boobs." It's
I would
not-
have, bro. Oh, titties, right?
Yeah.
I still see, like, there's this restaurant I went to, Felix, it's in the city.
Yeah.
I went like maybe 2 weeks ago, and like along the wall, there's like all these like old school Colosseum type naked pictures of girls. Oh, look at that titty over there, titty, bro.
Hey, look, man. Sometimes you catch me like that, but most of the time, I can appreciate art for what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, my granddad though was more on like the journalistic side, on the like the politics and stuff like that. Subtle flex. My granddad was the only person from my country to be invited to Princess Diana's wedding.
Oh, that's a hectic flex.
Yeah, that's just
bro.
crazy flex. I go in my grandma's house sometimes, and I see that little piece of paper, and I'm like, yeah, that's hard. That's a crazy flex. That's a crazy flex.
Bro, I reckon I'd frame it and I'd steal it. I'd put it on my wall here, bro.
They have it laminated and shit. It's like, we're never
Yeah.
getting rid of this.
Yeah.
Man, my granddad was a massive influence in my life too before he passed away. He was just like, it was just cool. Like, you know, like those people that are just cool. It was like that. Yeah.
That's dope, bro. I think flex as hard as you can on parents and grandparents. Like
Yeah.
my grandfather, even my nan, even my grandfather's new wife, like even both sides of the family, whatever one it is, I'll tell as much stories as I can possibly tell about these people. Like they are responsible for the individuals we are today.
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
not a flex to show respect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's a flex to show respect to yourself. Like, right, you know, I got invited to Prince Diana's wedding. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah, I wish. I
yeah,
wish. I wish.
yeah. But to do it to parents and grandparents, bro, I think that's so not just deserved but necessary.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
sure.
You have,
Just-
yeah.
Yeah, especially because like my grandparents, they basically raised me, right? My mom, amazing woman, but she was building her career because she had me when she was young, so she was building her career, so she didn't obviously like get to take care of me as much after school and stuff like that. My grandma would pick me up from school, take me to her house, feed me, wash me, everything. So like a lot of the morals and ethics that I have now are from my grandparents, so I can never like not shout them out because they are like my other parents.
Yeah.
So it's always like my grandparents and my family, they're always a big part in my life. Even just like how I've turned out as a person, they've played a massive role. Everyone's does. I'm sure your family and your loved ones would have affected your
of
way
course.
of thinking and your way of living.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think if you can speak highly about the people that raised you, the people that looked after you and stuff when you were coming up, then I think you should. You should take
Yeah.
every chance to.
Definitely, bro.
Why not?
Definitely. And to be honest, bro, I'd tell everyone, it's the first thing I'd say, bro, my fucking grandfather was invited to Prince Diana. Yeah. Yeah. What I find interesting too is you mentioned growing up, you had a lot of other forms of creativity like painting and piano
Yeah.
and along those lines as well. Anyone that's creative in one pursuit is so creative in many different forms,
Yeah,
you know?
sure.
It's almost like for a long time growing up, I felt like things come to you, which I still kind of believe. Like a passion might find you. I spoke about that with Saun.
Yeah.
Like he felt like music found him. Yeah. But in a way, it's almost like you had to get your creativity out somewhere,
Yeah.
and that just happened to be the vessel in which you chose to take it out on.
Sure.
I've never been into anything to do with painting, I can't lie, or anything to do with music. It's never been something that I've been interested in, but in other forms of creative expression, whether it be through even networking or communication or creating, I'm doing, I guess, digital footprint at the moment with podcasting. It's like there's still niches that have found their way out somehow. You know what I mean? Like somehow.
It's I think it comes down to like you start off with like this broad thing that everyone kind of knows about, and then you pick, okay, I like doing this part of this thing, so I'm gonna focus in on this. Like growing up, I tried so many things, bro. I tried making music for the longest time. Just wasn't clicking.
Yeah.
Like I can play a little bit of instruments here and there, and like I can write, but I'm not built for singing or rapping or anything like that.
Bro, I'd pay good money to be able to sing, but I cannot sing.
Yeah.
Bro.
Like I'm not Michael Jackson. As much as I'd want to be, I'm not him.
Yeah.
But I was making a song with my older, he's my cousin, but I called him my older brother because we grew up together. And he asked me, do you just want to shoot the music video? And at that time, I didn't have a camera, nothing. I was like, 14, 15 or something. Got my iPhone X at the time, recorded it on the phone. And I was like, wait, I kind of like doing this. Since then, I was like, oh, wait, I should buy a camera. Sometimes I'd borrow my dad's camera, like, hey, please, just let me. But he's mad protective about his camera, so he's always like, nah, you can't have it.
Yeah.
But I used it anyway. But yeah, it's always like, you kind of do things and they kind of find you. That's what I've always believed too. Like I've always believed God just has a plan for you. Like something always works out in the end. So yeah, I think what you said is so true. Like it's just everything just kind of finds you, even though you're doing something different. It will end up leading that way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that anymore, bro. I think that I believe God's plan is interesting for us. You know, it is our freedom to be able to choose to use whatever form of expression we want to use to get it out, but he still has a plan in which it's like if music ain't gonna be the thing, like we'll use digital media, we'll use photography, we'll use it's so cool, bro. I think growing up, you had like lots of paintings and stuff around the house, did you also have lots of like digital artwork as well? Was there photography because your dad was into and your granddad?
So my dad was the principal of the only I guess one of the only photography schools back home at the time. So I was always around like these up and coming artists or up and coming students at the time who were just photographers. And to this day in my house, I still have like crazy photos that someone gifted it to him, and it's some Swedish photographer from the middle of nowhere. Like,
wow.
So it's I've always grown up around like photography, paintings and stuff. And I think photography kind of stuck with me, one, because my dad does it. So I've always been like, there's photos of me as a child, like in studios and like backdrops and stuff, just because I was just always helping my dad out with stuff. And then, yeah, like just since then it's been, I guess like that kind of stuck. But then the video side kind of came on after what I told you. But yeah, but even with my photos, it's like I kind of draw my own personal, because I have like kind of like really bad astigmatism. So my eyes go like
I need to know that word. What does that mean? Astigmatism.
Astigmatism is like when you see, like light reflections, like when you're in the car and the brake lights are on in front of you, instead of seeing I see like a real like blurry image.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
So like a lot of my photos, if you check my account, you'll see like they have like light streaks coming out of them, or they're like kind of blurry. And at first I was just fucking around with it. I was like, this is kind of how I see lights.
Yeah.
So like it kind of makes sense to show people what I like and what I see. And it kind of worked. Like people like it. Some people come. Well, there's one guy came up to me at an event once, shook his camera in my face. He's like, "Look, I'm doing the Deeans effect." I was like, "Bro, get out of here." But yeah, it's cool to like express yourself in ways, like small ways that people wouldn't really notice.
Yeah.
In stuff like that, for sure.
It's also a very personal thing, you know. Even if, and I say this all the time, in my own editing style, right? Like it's a very clear cut pattern. You don't have to do much, but change between camera angles between two people, you know. And there's AI programs that can do that for us now. But I'm not a fan of that idea because it takes away that little personal touch that only I will ever know, you know.
Sure.
It might be a simple form of like cutting quickly between laughter, or it could be like letting the camera sit on one person before going to the other person. Like there's minute details that make literally no difference to a final product, right?
But it's what makes you happy.
But it's a personal touch on how I felt while doing the conversation to be able to turn into something that I can see visually. So artistic touch, like letting a light glare, I guess you'd call it,
yeah.
is such a mad stamp, almost like a signature at the bottom of something.
That's what it is.
know?
It's like every photo I've ever posted, I think like when I do like a slideshow or something, there'll be one photo that'll have like a little bit of like light reflection or something. It's always like me saying like I took this, like this is my, like a lot of like rappers have like producer tags or like it's
That's
kind of
what I was
like my
thinking too.
version of that.
I was thinking another one.
DJ Khaled.
Yeah, that's so cool. All right, I want to come to a point in a minute about the video side of photography, and I'll want to make a note because I want to talk about how camera photos almost capture a story if you capture it right. But just the word journaling has come up, and journalist, and your name obviously Deeans Journal, right? I'm curious, has journaling itself ever been a part of your existence?
Yeah, so it was actually a massive thing. So I was really sick for a while, and I just always had this journal with me that I would draw on and like I would write in and stuff like that. And it kind of just stuck. Like you'd see me with this red journal all the time, and you'd be like, "Oh, that's Deeans Journal."
Yeah.
Like my friends at the time would be like, "Oh, any red book that they see, oh, that's Deeans Journal." And at the start of my Instagram account, it was more to like just post my artwork, like my drawings and stuff, because I would dream about things and then I would like write it down or like I would draw it. But then I started taking photos and I was like, oh, the name kind of works. Also, because I just didn't want to be called something like Deean Media or something like that. I just thought like it doesn't really correlate well with me. Not saying that there's anything wrong with that. Some of the homies have that name in them. Shout out Yao Media. He's gangster. He's killing it right now.
Oh, bro, I just followed Yao Media.
Yeah, he's
just
killing it
followed
right
you.
now. Yeah, he did a music video with Day One, I think.
Yeah, I think that's how I found him.
Yeah,
Wow.
he kills it. He's a soldier.
Yeah.
He's a soldier. But yeah, it's just like, yeah, the journal just kind of came back because I just always had it on me, and it just kind of stuck, I guess. Like if I go in my archives, you'll see like I posted like paintings and shit that no one will ever see them.
Yeah.
'Cause it was so bad, but it just kind of stuck, and since then it's been a part of who I am, I guess now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Still have that book now.
Yeah, that's mad. So when you said you were really sick for a period of time and journaling was an important part of your life,
Yeah.
how did you tackle that mindset of what journaling was? Like, were you journaling about your day-to-day routine? Was it more of like a journaling about your creative ideas? Like, what would you journal about?
I was just journaling about everything, bro. Like I just always needed like some sort of like, because I was so stressed out at the time and mentally so like overworked at the time that I would always just need, it was like an outlet for me because I kind of struggle with like speaking, and I think a lot of men do, which is like a massive problem. It's just like speaking about things that affect them. But this journal was like my like outlet, I guess. Kind of like how some people have like working out or some people have like running, stuff like that. I just do it in the journal. Like I'll just write whatever I'm feeling, draw whatever I'm seeing, just, or like even like just plot down ideas. It would kind of like stabilize things for me at the time. Like I always get overworked when I have too many ideas, or like overwhelmed, sorry. Yeah, so I would always just plot down stuff in there, and then since then, to this day, I still use that book, but now it's more for like music video ideas and stuff like that. Yeah.
That's the most interesting thing I found about journaling when I got into it. I didn't get into it until I'd say probably 3 years ago was the first time I really tried it. I haven't done it for a while. I have a couple next to my bed that I just don't use. I don't know why. I say, yeah, I'll do it every time I wake up. Oh, yeah, tomorrow. I just don't do it. I just never think of it. But I found that just by writing down, for starters, how my day was at the end of a day was a good way to summarize how I felt, without having to leave it unanswered, know. And then on top of that, whenever I had an idea that I wanted to get out, if I'd write it down, it was also another form of manifesting where I could almost bring it to life by removing it from the subconscious and not just making it consciously to the forefront, but also having it something to look at. You know, I think that's a very powerful tool for anyone to do in their life.
For sure. Like I think everyone has this problem where like when you think about something, it feels too big in your head to like ever execute properly. But if you just write it down, it actually like breaks it down a lot. Like I had this music video that came out not too long ago, Paranoia, that I did with one of the homies, Chandler and Thursday. And at the beginning when we were planning it, it just felt like, holy shit, bro, how are we going to get this done? Because the whole idea was like, we wanted to incorporate, we're there from Lake Macquarie, and have like professional studio settings and have a lot of like a bunch of shit. And I was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to write it down. And we did. and we wrote it down together, and we budgeted everything together, and we were like, oh no, this is calm, like we could do this.
Yeah.
But the initial idea just always feels so big in people's heads, and I would recommend just writing it down, bro. Like life becomes so much easier when you can see the issue instead of like just dreaming about the issue.
Yeah, I agree too. It doesn't matter what problems I find that I feel like I have anyway. If I write it down, not only you can use it from any way you would look at it. You can cross out the things that you can't control, and you can focus on the things you can control, and focus on those things first. And then you can you can re-engineer a business plan in a way where it's, instead of starting from the bottom and working your way up, you can start from the top and work your way down. You know, like there's so many beneficial tools when it comes to it. But I think that the most important point you made on that was that any idea you have is just an idea in your head that feels too large to comprehend at the beginning. And it's because an idea will continue to grow, I believe. As soon as you have a creative spark in any form of existence, it will continue to multiply every time you think of it, because now you've thought of every possible thing that can go right or wrong, and now you're left in the answers of the unknown. As soon as you write it down, bang, it's as simple as it needs to be, you know? I could write down get rich, you know what I mean? And that'll help me. Like,
I have a note like that in my journal. Get rich 2035.
Yeah.
And it's just like a step by step, but because if you're thinking about it, get rich is such a broad, like,
bro.
but if you write down get rich and it's like, okay, 2040, invest in something, 2045, pull out super fund, 2055, like invest the super fund back in. It's like, you kind of have like a step by step that you can kind of check off. And I think for me as a person, it's very important to have something to check off every couple of days. Like, okay, like I did this is what I wanted to do at the start of the week, check this off, done. Stuff like that. It's very important to, like, instead of just visualizing, writing it down and actually executing on that.
That's awesome. It's awesome that you have got journaling as a big part of your life, and also incorporated that into your Deeans journal. I'm going to call it brand. You know, I definitely would consider it to be a brand. If you're making an impact on the internet of not just how you think in the title, but also if you're taking photos and incorporating the way you literally see, you're putting your existence into something for everyone to see visually. Like, it's such a dope expression that so many people don't do in their own life.
Thank you.
I wanted to come back to that point on photography when it comes to capturing a moment, as you mentioned as well. You know, just even if you don't make money off it, you can take photos with family, and that's a memory you can have for a while. And I think that whether people notice it or not, it's pretty common knowledge that when you do capture a photo, you capture a story as well. Every time I look back at any memory that pops up on Snapchat or camera roll or anything, it's like, I remember that night. I remember that day. The photo is one thing, but the story behind it's crazy. And that's from a personal perspective. If you're looking at someone else's photo, you can make your own story based on whatever that thing you see is. So growing up, coming from parents and grandparents that were into not just photography, but also stories involved behind them, have you always looked at photos and seen that idea of a story involved in a photo?
Yeah, like I've always been a very analytical person my whole life. Like I can kind of just like, well, I guess because of my upbringing, I can kind of just, I look at a photo, I'm like, okay, so this is why he would have done this. This is what he's trying to say. Or like, this is why I think he's done this. Or blah, blah, blah. Just things like that. It's made me very analytical, obviously, like just growing up the way I did. And I think it's like an important part of your creative process too, to like be able to tell a story with something as simple as a photo, right? Like sometimes it's just as easy as taking a hard photo in the moment and then you could tell the story later on. Or it's more like just thinking of the idea, then trying to execute it in a photo. Something as simple as like, I did a cover photo for one of the bros the other day for his album cover, and the song felt really cold. So in the shadows, I just boosted a little bit of blues, and I was like, yeah, that makes the photo feel cold. It's just simple things like that. You can kind of tell the story behind what you're trying to push. That's very important too. And I think like having a camera just around family is so important, because both my grandparents passed away recently. Or one of them passed away a couple years back, and one of them passed away very recently. And I realized I didn't have, because I haven't gone back home for a while, I didn't have any like proper photos with them as like me as a grown up. So when my grandma came out this time, I set up the full studio in my garage. I took like perfect, pretty photos of her just so she can, because I think like when people get older, right, they start to kind of lose like vision of themselves a little bit. They start to feel like not pretty anymore or anything like that. So I made sure she felt like pretty and comfortable and stuff. and then I took photos of her and I framed them up in my room. Just because it's so important to like remember your loved ones in a moment like that. You know what I mean? It's not just, oh, here's my whole family. It's like I have a single photo of my grandma that I can cherish for forever. Like my generations to come from now, they'll know who my grandma was.
Yeah.
It's just important to have personal mementos like that, I think, especially because I'm very not dependent, but I guess more. I care a lot about my family, as most people do, and it's very important for me to be able to like have them close to me, especially because they live so far away.
Damn, that's beautiful. I find that I have people in my life that I watch from social media. I know them personally, but I watch theirs, say Facebook, for example. I might be friends with their families, their mums, their anyone, because they're good people in my life. And there's some families that take a fuckload of photos, bro, and they post them all the time. It's like, there's a couple in particular that I'm thinking, and I won't give it out there, but it's almost a bombardment, you know, when you, and I guess the algorithm feeds you it anyway. I'm not trying to throw shade at them, but in reality, dude, I'm jealous. Like, it's not something that me and my family do too often. We don't take that many photos as a collective group. Yeah. And those people who do and post them, oh, went out for dinner, oh, another birthday, another thing, another that, and there's 10 photos every time they go out. It's like, I think a lot of the people, especially if they're coming from a point of judgment, which I can relate to because I have got judgment in my soul. I can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
Like
Everyone does.
Everyone does, you know. And it's like, realistically, they're the ones who are living life correctly. You know, I've been unlucky enough to go to some funerals from people I care about lately and their family members. And some of them had fuckloads of photos, bro. I mean, like hundreds and hundreds of family photos from childhood to adulthood.
Yeah.
And even me and my dad and brother and my sister will send around after, like, right, if one of us dies, like
We're cooked.
We are lost.
There's that one photo from summer of
bro.
like
Yeah.
you're like 3 years old in that photo.
Yeah. And it's been a bit of a motivational tool to spark my interest to capture more photos, you know, because it is genuinely the most important thing, especially with family, bro.
Yeah.
You know, and when it comes, and to be honest, that's a whole separate thing than wanting to capture a story, you know, to have that mindset to want to make your grandma feel beautiful and, you know, camera worthy and what's the word I'm looking, photogenic, I guess that's the word. That's an amazing thing to be able to give someone in itself. But even when it comes to family, you don't have to incorporate the storytelling behind it because that will happen naturally with your family. When it comes to taking a photo with the purpose of storytelling, like you did with your mate's album cover, what do you think is the most leading thought you have in that process? Would it be to capture a story, to capture a photo to tell a story, or telling a story through a photo? What do you do mostly?
That's a very interesting question. That's a good question. I think for me in my process, it's more I listen to, if I'm working on a song, let's say, like I'll listen to that song over and over and over again and kind of see what references come up in my brain, because we consume media 24/7, and I watch music videos for basically full time. Just whenever I'm bored, instead of watching Netflix, I just watch music videos, right?
Nice.
So it's just like I have like all these like references going through my brain, and I kind of see like, okay, so I'm getting like this sort of image, and then I reference that when I'm working on it to like, okay, so this is what I'm feeling, this is what the artist is trying to say. Like, I don't know, like let's say some very simple song that they're talking about money and cars, right?
Yeah.
Like you'd want to tell the story about money and cars. If like the chorus is like, I got mad money, mad cars.
Yeah.
You'd want to like put like hit the artist in front of a Bentley.
Yeah.
And have like a stack of cash next to him, stuff like that. Like I visualize a lot in my brain, and then I kind of write down the references that I have, and then I'll cross check and cross reference, and then I'll come up with an idea that I think tells the story of. So I guess storytelling through the photo is important to me for the artists that I work with.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I get you. That's awesome. When it comes to the video side of things as well, I am such a fan of music videos, bro. I think music changed entirely forever when we got YouTube for the first time, bro. I remember watching, I think it was T.I., Whatever You Like. I think that was the first song I ever watched on YouTube, you know, back in YouTube Vivo days. And I was just blown away by it. Like And it's something that I definitely want to get into when it comes to my digital content that because I'm trying to take a step into another door now of creating social media advertisement for businesses and actually utilizing some of the skills I've learned through editing and things. And music videos is definitely one of those markets I would love to tap in, bro. Like Cole Bennett, do you know?
Yeah,
Cole?
that's one of my biggest inspirations,
Yeah,
bro.
hard, me too.
Cole is like, especially Lyrical Lemonade. Like, I've been watching him since, bro, like the SoundCloud era of rap when he would do those music videos with Famous Dex and Rich the Kid and stuff. Back when he was just like me, like just young and just shooting with like a $1,000 camera and just making it work. So watching him progress into what he runs a multi-million-dollar business now.
Bro. It's an enterprise. It's a corporation now.
He throws festivals now and it sells out every time. Like, that's crazy work. I could never imagine doing something like that. So that's always been like my biggest inspiration, especially because he stays true to himself. He doesn't like front or flex or do anything he just stays true to himself, lets his work speak for him, which I think is so gangster. I love when people who are so talented like that just let the work speak for themselves, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I find that in a good example for me would be Joe Rogan, right? Joe Rogan, obviously being a podcast host myself, I look up to the greats. You know, I've always been a fan of Joe Rogan, but not just from a podcast hosting position. I think that he has orchestrated his life to build around his interests, which is what, unfortunately, we can't all necessarily do.
Yeah.
He's got bills to pay.
Yeah.
But I do have a strong belief that if you give a passion 100% effort while you're doing that passion, that can turn into a paid form of income.
Yeah, for sure. I've always had this belief like money will come. Money will come and go. And I can say that in an arrogant way because I am young still. I don't really have that many things to pay for. Like I still, you know what I mean? Like I can still like survive of the bare minimum.
Yeah.
I don't have kids to pay for, nothing like that.
Yeah.
So I can kind of say that in an arrogant way, I guess. But I've always believed like money will come.
Yeah.
If you're doing something you love, money will come. Sure, it might take a bit longer, but I'd rather my whole thought process is like, I would rather do something I love, make a little bit less money than I probably can, but at least I like doing it every day. I would hate to do something every day that I hate.
Yeah.
It's just, you wouldn't enjoy it.
I think that's the difference between living and existing.
Yeah.
You know? Like showing up for a 9 to 5 that you cannot stand, to sit in commute of traffic that you don't want to be in, just to get home to pay for things that you can barely afford is so anxiety when it comes to me. Like I'm a very greedy person. I want to be able to do everything I want to do, but I also want a lot more. So I also work my ass off and do shit I don't want to do just because I can't, nothing's ever enough for me. You know what I mean? But without the belief in the fact that I think you can achieve your dreams, I would probably find a lot less purpose in my existence if I just worked and I didn't follow pursuits of passion, you know, at the same time. What I'm trying to circle back to as well would be if you have this same belief in a form of money will come no matter what, do you think about that while doing the things you're interested in, and do you try and find a way to monetize it, or do you just let it kind of do its thing without thinking about it?
Look, as I've gotten older, monetary value does mean a little bit more. As you get older, you just have more things to pay for. Like it's just, I'm only 20 years old, so I don't really have too many things to pay for, but I still have shit to pay for.
Yeah, of course. How old did you say you are?
20.
20, damn, bro. Yeah. Fuck. I feel like I'm sitting down with younger people because I'm 25 myself.
Yeah.
And 20 is a reoccurring number for the guests that sit on my podcast.
Oh, what?
20-year-olds like yourself, bro, you're fucking self-aware, fucking analytical, throwing out words out here I don't even know. Bro, 20 is the new fucking 30, bro. I swear to God.
I think that's just our generation, like especially the younger generations, bro. Like I see people, like kids that are like 12, 13 now, talking about shit that I would have talked about when I was like 16. I was like,
Bro.
My sister came up to me the other day and like said some real hard English, and I was like, where'd you learn that, bro? Because when I was your age, I was playing in the fucking sand. Like I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I come home and watch anime all day, like.
Bro, when I was 20, my deepest thought was probably like, if I pack 6 caps into one big capsule, I wouldn't have to eat so many. That's what I'm a genius, bro. I'm so self-aware.
Bro, that's hood mass right there. That's hood mass. Listen, if I drop 2 imps now and drop 6 later, I'm kicking out, mate. So I'm chilling out.
My full creative process was like, I've got 30 minutes left on this drive. This cap will take 25 to kick in. I'll have it in 10 minutes, and by the time I get to the party, I'm good to go, bro.
Bro, that's straight rave math. All right, the train's an hour and a half.
You rave mad.
It will drop 30 minutes in. Fuck, so I should drop it when I'm in the line. By the time I'm inside and I start hearing Colin headers, I'll be kicking it on, bro.
Rave math
That's
is a new
straight
term
rave
for me, bro.
math.
I love that, rave math. I want to get to this videography side of things as well, especially music video shooting. What I understood with Saun when I sat down with him was that I don't know if it's a common thing. I just know based on the conversation I had with him that you guys sat down and cut me off if I'm wrong, and you discussed one of the songs that he wanted to turn into a music video, and he found a lot of comfort trusting you and your process to be like, damn, I don't have to overwork my expression because music's my thing. I can let down cook, you know? And he trusted your ability, and you showed him through your words that you have a vision for that as well. Yeah. I'm trying to get to this shared vision idea of you are working with a artist of any form, and you also have a creative process in which you can see the outcome. You're like, oh, I can imagine what this is going to look like. Yeah. Do you have to also consider what they want as well, and how much do you get to control in that avenue, you know?
Look, like it's different with everyone you work with, right? Like, but I can kind of understand the vibe an artist is trying to give off on their social media. So like I can always kind of just cook based off that and then bring my own ideas to the table. But some artists, it's like they already have like a solid plan in place and you don't really get to budge. Whereas you know, like, bro, like this would probably look a bit better. Yeah. Like you were talking about it in the podcast with Saun, where it's like, bro, now I have your trust. Like, let me cook on this one. Yeah. So it's like that. Like you kind of have to prove yourself sometimes. But I'm blessed in the opportunity where it's like everyone I've worked with has kind of fucked with my vision and kind of just they like what I do. So I'm very blessed in the way that they kind of put like this blind faith. Sometimes it gets a bit overwhelming. Like, fuck, like I don't know if I can pull this off. Yeah. But most of the time it's like they put this blind faith on me. Like you kind of understand what I'm trying to do. So just go hard, do your thing. Like a lot of the people that I work with closely, like work with majority of the time, like Thursday, he just kind of is like, bro, just do your thing. I know it'll come out how I want it. Just do your thing. So it's kind of like, I'm struggling to like find an analogy for it, but it's more just like if they have faith in you, you can kind of just do whatever you want because you know it will be good. And you kind of also have to like prove yourself in a way, like through your social media or through whatever you want to do. You kind of just have to prove like, all right, like I can do this. Like you can put your faith in me. Like, and it's also like they're paying you, right? So you got to kind of take into account what they want, and you can't just, nah, fuck off. Yeah, you don't get to say I'm just gonna do what I do.
I didn't even consider the fact that we're getting paid to do a lot of the things. To be honest, like they're paying for a service. Actually, yeah.
So it's like a shop, right? Like if you go to a shop, and if I bought these forces, right, from JD, let's say,
shout out to the forces.
We're both rocking them right now. If I bought these forces and I go and I wear them one day and I realize like fuck, there's a hole in my shoe. I bought it like this. Then obviously I'd get a return on this purchase that I made, right? So it's like that. Like if they bought a music video from me and it's like, oh, it's not really like, we didn't really discuss what I wanted and you just gave me this hot piece of ass for no reason. I want my money back. So, and I'm not trying to give out refunds. You got to work with people and kind of understand where they're coming from. You just have to be understanding, I think, and it kind of just works out in the end for sure.
Yeah, okay, I love that too. So I'm going to ask from a perspective of I'm interested because I want to start going down this pursuit as well. So when it comes to working with an artist to get their song into a video form, music video, what's the process from your end look like? So you obviously sit down and you discuss a brainstorm of an outcome, right? Paint a picture together. And then how much work goes involved on your end to get the final product?
Oh, bro. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes that people never really like see or know. I'll tell you step by step exactly what happens. So normally what's been happening like lately anyways is like people hit me up like, oh, bro, I got this song. I want to shoot a video for it. Yeah, cool. We'll sit down or like we'll even jump on a call and we'll just talk about some ideas like, oh, so this is what I want to do. Like these are some music videos I'm inspired by. And then I'll take it. I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. Let me see what I can do. And then 9 out of 10 times I'll make like a draft visualization on YouTube, like just a private link of just like screen recordings of random music videos and photos and paintings that I see when I listen to this song, and I'll send it to them, and then they'll be like, oh, I like this part. Can we try to do something like this? And then it'll go into like the budgeting side of things. Like, yo, bro, like I know you like this shot where they performed in an opera, but costing like renting an opera will cost X amount of money. Like, does this work out for you financially? If it does, then fucking earth, let's run it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it goes into the financial side of things, and the financial side of things, when that's all cleared, you can kind of start booking your stuff, and that's when the exciting stuff happens. Like, you can get your crew together, you can film, and then the hard part begins when you got to start editing, bro. Editing's a drag. Editing, I love editing, but it's a drag, bro.
Hard.
You got to spend like Paranoia when we shot that. It was just a stressful, bro. Like, oh, we were stressed out that whole week we were filming it. We didn't know if the crew was coming together. We didn't know if shit was happening. Like, it was just a stressful day. And then we shot it in the studio the whole day. First half of the music video, 7 hours. And then next day we had to drive up to Wanji Powerhouse. It's all the way up in Newcastle, bro, with all this gear. We had a generator for a light.
Wow.
Had a fuck off light, like that, but like a heavy. Have you ever seen like them heavy aluminium C stands?
Yeah.
It's like that with like this light that was bigger than my head.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, like, how are we gonna pull this off? We have to get one of my mates with a ute to come.
Yeah.
Like, bro, please just help me out. Like, I'll pay for your fuel. Like, please just get us out there. We did, and then that's how. And it was back to back, so it was like 48 hours of straight shooting. And I've always been I have like pretty bad ADHD, so like if I shoot something, I kind of want to edit it that same night.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah.
It's just, and then I came home and I started editing straight away. But what I realized was, fuck, I'm tired, bro. Like, I need some sleep, because we wrapped up at the studio at like, it wasn't too late. It was like 9 p.m. or something. We came home, left at 6 a.m. Slept for like 3 hours maybe.
Damn.
Dipped. So the whole process is a lot of work goes on behind the scenes that people just think is like, oh, he just picked up a camera and he pressed a couple buttons and then, like he edited it and that was it. But I think what goes on behind the shooting takes longer than the actual shooting. Because if you wanted, like, say you came out with a song today and you hit me up like, yo, I want to shoot a song, nothing crazy, I just want to go around the city and, film. Done. I could get that done.
Money,
I could get that done in 48 hours max. Send it back to you.
Wow.
But if you were like, came up to me, it's like, yo, bro, like I have this like really artistic song that means a lot to me and I want to tell this and this and this. There's a lot of back and forth, right? Like, you'd have to agree. Like, if I said like, oh, let's do a story about your mom, like when you were a kid, let's do like a time lapse of you guys growing up. You'd be like, oh, like I don't really like fuck with that idea. I was thinking more like this. Then okay, come back to like square one. Yeah. Recook, do everything again, send it back. Okay, yeah, cool. I like that one, bro. Like, I have files on my laptop that are like music video draft 1 / final export. Like, it's just at that point it's like, bro, come on, just agree on something. Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes for sure.
Definitely.
And that's just my process. I think a lot of people do it differently. Like, if you're signed to a label, most of the time the label just kind of handles it for you. They have a team. They know what to do. They'll just kind of handle it for you. But if you're like these up and coming artists, you kind of have to be a lot more, I guess,
hands-on.
Yeah, hands-on, in tune with your vision, kind of like that. Yeah.
So, say you did an example with the Paranoia music video where you shot for 2 days straight, basically, like 7 hours in the studio. Yeah. When you go ahead and upload that to your hard drive, how many hours of content do you have to decipher through? Oh, bro. That's the crazy part.
Yeah, at the start, I was just running stuff off like hard drives, like lacy hard drives, because 1 terabyte, that sounds like a lot of data. Like, bro, that should last me. That should last me 6 years.
Bro, I think I've got 80 terabytes full at the moment.
Yeah, bro, bad. Yeah, and then I it got to a point where I was like, okay, fuck, like I've upgraded to like 60 different hard drives. Like, I'm going bankrupt just buying hard drives, bro. The hard drives aren't cheap, bro. No. Like, especially SSDs, like the good ones. Yeah. Like fucking the 8 terabyte ones are like $600 a pop. Like, bullshit, what the fuck?
It's bullshit. Yeah.
And then my dad came up to me, he's like, why don't you just buy a server? I was like, wait, that's actually not a bad plan. Because he's like, look, you spent what, like 10 Gs on all these hard drives? Yeah. You spend another 10, you could get a server with unlimited Wi-Fi. Like, you just need Wi-Fi connection. I run everything of my internet basically at home. Like, it just stores it in like a NAS system, essentially. And it's just unlimited storage for me. It's just cloud storage.
That is up to, I need to quickly decipher your brain about that too. Because I was actually speaking to I think I had an issue with one of my hard drives, so I took it to get repaired once, and he was explaining to me that you have so much space that you need. Why don't you just build a server? And I wasn't familiar with the idea. I know that he could turn a PC case into a server, basically. I kind of wouldn't mind doing it myself. It was fun doing the PC myself, but I thought it was just a storage device to hold multiple hard drives, and that's what a server was.
Yeah, that's basically what it is.
It is what it is, and you're saying you basically have unlimited, but like how?
Because the thing is, like, the server stores it online, right? So you don't have to worry about hard drive. Like, the difference between a hard drive and an SSD, right? Because the hard drive can wipe storage, and it's a lot more, like, there's a lot more faults in it. But when you have a server, it stores it online and is backing it up, like, constantly, right? So you don't have to worry about, because the hard drives, it will wipe your data later on, or like you can have corrupted files. Whereas a server, my servers can, like, constantly, like, I think it's like every hour or so, it's just backing it up. And what my server is basically is just a server that I plug in cheap hard drives into. Bro, like, you could get like 100 terabyte cheap hard drive for like $50.
Wow.
And I have like maybe like 50 of them. That amount of storage, like, I'll never run through. Or I will run through them pretty easily, but it'll take a lot longer than buying like $600 8 terabyte hard drives for no reason.
Yeah, which I still fuck up anyway.
Like I could break that too. Whereas a server, at least I know, like, even if Hail Mary, like, everything's out the window, I have this online backing that I can always extract it from. Yeah, that's just what I mean, like, unlimited data, because it, financially speaking, it feels unlimited, because I'm not really spending a lot of money on my data anymore. It's more just, okay, I've run out of this. I'm just going to buy a small hard drive, cheap. You can get them on Amazon for like $50, bro. It's nothing. Put them in, done.
Yeah,
sorted.
done. Man, I had to ask you about that too, because that's definitely going to be a next process that I kind of go down. But back to the point on 7 hours recording in the studio, you uploaded it all. How much shit do you have to look through just for that one session in the studio, bro?
I think just like when you edit any music video, you kind of have to look through every take. And oh my God.
How many takes, bro? How many takes?
It's just sometimes if I'm blessed that day, I'll cook with one take of a scene, and I'll be like, yes, God bless, like, you did it for me.
Yeah.
Some, like, paranoia. So I have like a really bad shoulder injury, and I can't hold my camera for too long, so my arms start shaking like this after a while. And paranoia, just my shoulder was really bad that day, and I ran through, I think I had like 600 takes for this one scene. And I sat there for like 3-4 hours just watching this scene over and over again, like picking up moments, and I'd mark them. So like scene 1, take 52, mark here. This is the only usable part. Everything else is shit. And I guess it comes down to me being like a little bit of a perfectionist too in what I do. So it's like, if I see like a little thing wrong, fuck it, I'm not using it.
Yeah.
Because it's an extension of who you are, right? Like, if my work was shit, then you get labeled as, oh, he's that shit one. But if your work was like good, then you'd only put out what you think is good. So it's like that. But bro, that shit takes too long, bro. Like, I shot a music video, Power, for one of the homies, Jada, and she, like, me and her, we had the same vision, so it worked out really well. And we had a dance scene that, because she's a dancer and she wanted to incorporate dance, and I was like, yeah, the dance makes sense, because it was like an Afrobeats type of song. And the dance scene was bad because I never shot like a serious dance scene before, so I was kind of just experimenting a little bit. But then I realized, fuck, this is a lot of hard work, because dancers move up and down so much. I'm doing this constantly.
Yeah, wow.
It was bad. Yeah.
Damn, I love that idea, but it's so much work. And to be honest with you, bro, the work doesn't even sound like a problem, because I can hear the passion you have behind doing it in the first place, you know, and the vision, bro. It's like, I went to the cinemas last night and watched fucking, what's that movie? A Quiet Place Day One.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen A Quiet Place?
Yeah.
You seen the new one?
Nah.
It's pretty dope. It was a good movie. And I won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but what I like to make notes while I'm watching a movie. So I'll just write down anything that's popping into my head, whether it be the way it's shot, the way they are telling a story that's steganography wise, where it's like, it's the message hidden behind the movie. Yeah. And one of the points I noted down was, without giving away this movie, was no matter what idea you have, see that through to the end, no matter how hard the circumstances get.
For sure.
And I think that's what the movie was trying to say, you know? It was a silly concept what they were playing off, but I got what they were trying to say. And I see that in a form of vision, you know? If you have an idea for this is the music video we're going to shoot, 7
You got to
hours,
see it
bruh.
through. You got to see it through. And we could have stayed for longer too, but it was just at that 7 hour mark. I was like, nah, I have what I wanted. I'm content now.
Yeah.
Like we had the studio, I think for 10 hours. Might have been a bit less. I don't know, something like that. But we could have gone on for we could have gone overtime. We could have done it all. But by that 7 hour mark, I was like, nah, I'm okay with what we have now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, sorry to cut you off, but I was curious as well. When you're recording something for someone, obviously you are familiar with photography background now, light exposure. You even threw words out at the beginning that I didn't understand. I got to be honest with you. That's what I know takes place when someone wants to get when someone wants to get into capturing anything. They have to take that into consideration. Yeah. Now, when it comes to uploading it to the computer, how much extra what's the word I'm looking for? Not filters, but effects need to go to also match. You know what I mean? So you put in work beforehand. Yeah. Do you also have work to do afterwards?
Oh,
as well?
so much work, bro. Like, I don't know how you use your cameras, but I shoot in log. Do you know what log
think
is?
I've got it on auto.
Yeah, that's right.
No.
So log is just like it's a color profile essentially where it kind of, when you shoot it, it looks very bland and it has no color to it at all. But that's because it stores more information. So when you bring back the color, like a big process of my music video editing is just color grading. And the color grading is what takes the longest because it has to be consistent throughout. Otherwise, it's just like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah.
And it has to look good too.
Yeah.
Plus, everything, like your exposure has to be proper. Your highlights have to be good. So, yeah, like a lot of things go into even just when it's uploaded. You grab your SD card, you plug it in, all the information is backed up. Now it's more like, okay, fuck, like what color do I put on this? Or like, does this scene go black and white and then it comes back to color? A lot of extra shit. Like I have a hard drive with just visual effects, like sound effects and like flashes, film burn, shit like that. 10 terabyte maxed out.
Wow.
It's just like you need, like I could use like 0.1 second of this thing, but I need it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna use it. It's like that. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like a lot of stuff goes on in the process that I guess people who make videos don't get a lot of like respectful, I guess. Yeah. Like people just think it's very easy. I mean, it can be if you're like insanely talented or whatever. Like it can be for sure. I don't see why it can't be. But yeah, like a lot of stuff goes on even in the editing process, bro. Like
well, to piggyback on that idea where people think it might be easy, I was thinking about this morning, I think it was even, where it's almost like the more you learn about something, the more you realize you know nothing. Like the more information I feel like I'm learning in life, the more open doors I have and information I have to shit I don't know anymore.
Sure.
So I feel like in any pursuit that I follow down, the better I get at something, the longer it starts to take because I'm finding more things to improve on along that way. So even though it might be easy in a certain sense, I'm just assuming that it might even be taking you longer and longer sometimes to do the next task. And it's not like you're able to do things faster because you're getting better at certain things. So let's dive another 2 hours into this little niche or 5 into this niche.
Yeah, like, bro. When you think, for me, it's like when you think you're getting good, that's when you're getting bad. I always, like every time I'm doing a music video, I was like, yeah, that was, my thing is like, I need everything to be an improvement of the last. And it's always, luckily so far, it's been like, okay, this was an improvement or this was something new that I did. But in that process of like, okay, this is something new I did, I find like 60 other things where I'm like, fuck, I really don't know how to do this. And it makes you question yourself sometimes. You're like, fuck, like, am I really built for this?
Yeah.
Like the dance scene I was talking about before, I'd never shot a dance scene before. So I was just like, fuck, like I really got to match this like perfectly. And because the human body's not like perfectly on timing. So like if one dance is off, fuck, like I gotta slow down this half and then bring it back so it matches up with the tempo of the song and everything.
Oh, that's a good touch too.
Yeah. So it's just like I always get inspired by new things, and I think as you get better, you get inspired by people who are doing better, right? Like at one point, like when you first started, I'm sure when you first started podcasting, your inspirations would be a lot more like something achievable, right? Like not like your all-time inspirations like Joe Rogan, but more like, oh, like this is another friend of mine that is doing a podcast. He's doing a bit better than me. I want to do this that he does. Right, but then as your inspirations grow and you grow as an artist, like your inspirations grow higher and more unattainable in a sense, right? So it's like I would watch like simpler music videos and then, okay, like I could do this, and then as like my music video game improved, I'll be like, fuck, like this guy's doing like $600,000 VFX in his music videos. Like shit, like I need to learn that, but how do I do it by my ones in my little laptop?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I think it's just like it's a good sign if things are getting harder for you because you're learning a lot more. Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. I'm curious now as well. You, especially playing on that thought of things are getting to get better and better and better, means that they're going to get harder and harder and harder. Things are going to take longer and longer and longer. In a form of what you're doing and filming in the first place, obviously you started off where you were almost forced into a position of one of my mates is doing I want you to help record my, was it release thing, the first thing you did?
Nah, he asked me to film, so it was a show, it was a live show, and the homie Thursday was he was headlining, and he had a song with After Party, and After Party was a mutual of mine. I knew him from school, but we weren't really like friends in school, I guess. And then yeah, like he hit me up because he saw my photography. He's like, yo bro, like would you be down to record? I was like, fuck it, I'll give it a shot. And yeah, that's just how that happened.
Yeah, nice. And how long ago was that?
A year ago today.
A year ago,
like
right.
sometime
So
this.
that was that
this
moment
week.
you
Yeah.
mentioned within June of last year.
Yeah.
Okay, so since that moment, what other, and I guess, did you go into that mindset with, I want to continue doing this from here on out? Like a year ago, did you think I'm going to film this and then I'm going to continue to film music videos for people?
Yeah, like the thing was like I've always been inspired by music videos and I've always wanted to do music videos. Like since I started watching Cole Bennett, I would just watch like YouTube. Like I didn't even have a camera or shoot anything, but I'll just watch tutorials on how to do this one thing because it just interested me. So it was like, okay, I can shoot a show. Next step would be to like shoot a music video. It took a while after that show to get my first music video for sure. Because I mean, as an artist, why would you put a blind faith on someone that doesn't have like the product you're asking for, right?
Of course.
So like I think every creative when you're starting out, you have to do a couple free like, oh bro, like let me just try. Or like one of the homies like, yo bro, like this, you're gonna throw this song away anyways. Let's see if I can make a music video out of it, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, like through that process, it was like, yeah, fuck, like I really want to do this for the rest of my life. Like this is something like I really enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
Even when I'm like sitting in my laptop hunched over like you know, have you ever watched 300?
Yeah,
The
I
movie?
have a long time ago. Yeah.
You know the hunchback that's like always like this? I feel like that sometimes bro in front of my laptop. But it's just like it is just turned into like a passion as I was slowly grinding. And yeah, that's just how that kind of stuck.
Yeah, nice. And since you've put a lot more process now into filming videos for artists as well, are you still going down your own personal journal, Deeans journal, with capturing things that you do without someone else's touch, you know what I mean? Like without someone saying, hey, I want to film this, I want to shoot this, I want to capture this.
Yeah, so because I've only been doing it for like a year now, bro. Like it's not too deep in. So up until like this year, I was really just like, okay, this is the artist I want to work with, blah blah blah. Like keep it going. But this year, I've just been like, okay, you know what? I've done things that I am content with, and you know what? Like I have proof of work. Like I've done this, and I'm capable of this. So this year has been more like working on more personal projects or more ideas that I have that I can execute. Like I have this collab coming up with this crazy talented artist, Safer Being Silent. Shout out to Safer Being Silent. She's this painter out of Toronto, and she's just like a really close friend of mine. And she's just
Out of Toronto, as in Canada?
in Canada. Yeah.
Damn, how did that friendship even start?
TikTok.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, she's just like this crazy talented painter, bro. Like, she's taught me so much about like painting in general, and her color working and everything is just so, it's just amazing. Like you never think about like how much work goes into something until someone sits you down and like, bro, like this is what it took me X amount of hours, and she's just crazy with it. And I have a collab coming up with her, hopefully soon, where it's like, it's a photo that I took, and then she's painting over it with her own vision. Like, I'm never going to direct her to do nothing. It's more like she was like, oh, I really fuck with this. Can I, like, paint over it? I was like, yeah, go hard. Like,
damn.
Yeah, like, it's like, this year, and I posted something too recently, like, I think 2 days ago now, where it was, like, my mum.
I watched that.
Yeah, and, like, she was talking to my auntie about me and just, like, what I feel. 'Cause I tell my mum everything. She's my best friend. And, she was just talking to my auntie, and then, like, this fucking clip of me as a kid, just running around my old house back home, So it's just, yeah, like this year is more for me, like doing things that I think would personally, like I would enjoy, like without anyone's input, without like getting paid for it, nothing like that. Just more just honing in on my creativeness and doing things that I want to do, bro. I think that's what's most important about this whole thing, right? Like, I'm sure you wouldn't do podcasts if you didn't enjoy doing it, right?
100%, yeah.
It's just like that. Like, I think I kind of lost myself for a bit, thinking about money and thinking about this, and that's why I took a massive break too. I was off my Instagram for like 2-3 months, just kind of just coming back to roots and just seeing like okay, like you've done this, and this. I think it's time, like, take a step back and just come back with fresher and just like more personal ideas for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like in life, I feel we have a main part of the story. We have a book that we are all writing ourselves as we go down, and every now and then, almost like one of those books when we're kids, when you get to like choose your own adventure, you flip to another crazy page, and then all of a sudden you're off on a sidetrack, right? And I find it in my life when it comes to relationships is a really good example of one. You know, like you get into a relationship sometimes and everything else kind of stops. You know, you don't put as much interest into your passions and your pursuits, and even time with family and time with everyone knows the guy that got a missus and stopped hanging out with the boys, you know. And no hate towards that guy, because I've been that guy and I got mates that might be doing it now, you fucking losers. But it's like, if that relationship comes to an end, you come back to the main story and you keep going down. And I feel like any pursuit is like that too. If we get into something like podcasting or capturing moments, the original thing that we started doing opened up new branches and new doors, and we can walk down them and see wherever it lands up. But it's also nice to remember the tree in the first place that has that branch. Sure. And I find that whenever I start to think anything along the lines of how can I monetize this podcast, it does sometimes spark a bit of fun and it helps create more ideas and things like that. But it's a path that I'm not interested in going down, because the real reason I do it is to just have as many interesting conversations as I can have, you know? And you get lost in the sauce, bro. Like as soon as I think of a way to monetize anything, whether it be making videos for someone else or whether it be just, I'm passionate about tattoos. So if I find a way, I might be able to monetize this without being an artist myself, and I go down that road, all of a sudden, I'm not interested in tattoos anymore. This is just work, bro. You know, it's nuts. I feel you. Yeah. So I love that you've come back this year to do things more personally. You know,
it's just like it's so important in any field. It doesn't even have to be creative. Like, have that passion in what you do. Like my mom, she's a virologist, so she like
what's that word?
So she studies like, so she's a pediatric virologist.
Another word I don't.
So she does like stuff like influenza or like COVID or like, and the effects of that in children. So like more vaccine work, and she works crazy. Like she works like 9 days out of the 7 days in a week. But she's so interested in what she does that it never comes off as work. Like she'll complain like, I'm so tired and stuff. But she's like one of those women where it's like you meet him and it's like, holy shit. Like she knows what she's talking about. Yeah. And she's so like interested in what she talks about that it never feels like work. I think that's what's so important in life in general. Like some people are unlucky enough to be in a position where obviously you just have to do what you have to do to make bread and you know, live, I guess. But if you have the opportunity to do something you're passionate about and you can do it at a level where you can survive off of it, go for it, bro. Like that's the secret, bro. That's like the end goal, right? But it's also like with what we do, you kind of get, because there's a lot of things that you kind of have to do to make money, right? There's a lot of soulless stuff. Like if I were to shoot reels, which I still do, like I shoot reels for companies all the time, but I just never promote it because one, I don't get paid to promote it, and two, like it's not what I do. It's not my brand, I guess. But that sort of stuff is soulless, right? Because you're just following what the algorithm wants, and it's like, okay, I got to do this here and then this here and then done. It's a very like cut and sew, like okay, done.
It's a job.
Yeah. It gets the bills paid, done.
Yeah.
But then it's so important to have the balance of like, okay, like so this is the video I want to do. This is what will pay the bills. I want to do both. And sometimes you overwork yourself doing that because like the ones that pay the bills always ends up going up, and the one that you want to do just comes down and down. But I think this year, like I've just been so I'm like I need to get back to the source. Like I don't want to lose myself in just making bread and then that's it. Like it was never for me like money will come, right? So it's just like, fuck it. Like if the bread's a bit dry right now, I'll make it work. Like I remember when I was like 14, bro, I could make $10 work for a whole week.
Yeah.
So why can't I do that now?
Yeah, I'm the same, bro. I remember back in the day, $120. I remember was it always a number that I would fixate on because $120 was more than 100. Like that's so much money.
Yeah.
Nowadays it's like fuck, bro. I swear to God, I spent that at the movies last night. Like it
Bro,
was
hard.
jokes.
Hard.
Like I shouldn't have. I was away. I knew it was a waste. As soon as I got the bill, I said, "Fuck, what have I done, bro?" You know?
Bro, yesterday, me and this bloke, I went and got a vape and we got KFC. I swear to God, I spent $100 down the drain. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What? And we got what? We got a Zinger box, Go Bucket, 2 sliders. Bro, but the vape prices are insane
Yeah,
now. The
bro.
vape prices are criminal, bro. I might as well just start smoking crack at this point. Fuck. At this point, bro. But
Yeah.
like I saw this meme on Instagram and it made me laugh. My mom sent it to me actually. She's like, you know how mom's always sending like this fucking random memes?
Yeah.
She goes, $100 is a adult $1. You're so right, bro. You're
Aw.
so right.
Damn, that's accurate too, bro. That's so accurate. What type of things do you want to focus more in this time to like? Do you have a plan in what you want to do as a personal journal level? Like say you're taking this break to focus on what you want.
Yeah.
Do you live it day by day and just do things you want to do, or do you have a vision in what things that you want to do? You know.
It's kind of both, bro, because it's like I get inspired by things I do day to day too, right? So it's kind of like, okay, like today I came out this way and I saw there was like a silo or something out there with like mad graffiti. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Put a note in it in my notes, like, okay, I gotta come back here later, check it out.
Yeah.
But it's also like I have a bigger plan of what I want to achieve this year. A couple things in the works. Like I want to start doing kind of what Cole Bennett did with like the whole album. I want to do something like that, but in the Australian scene, like work with Australian only artists and
Fuck, that's a mad idea.
and just
bro.
bring up, because like our scene is very different to like American markets, right? Like I think everyone will say this about Australia. We have a very like cut each other down kind of like mindset instead of like bringing up everyone. Like in America, bro, like people will like they'll just form a clique and they'll just come up together. But here it's like, fuck, like I don't like this guy and he doesn't like this guy. And like, bro, like leave the ego aside for a second and just kind of think of like what you could do if you were just bringing everyone up. And that's what I want to do. Like I work with a lot of talented people, and it would be so gangster to have like this piece of work that would be like, this is Australia's, like this is what like I think Australia has to offer. Like look at this, like I want to do stuff like that, more bigger picture stuff, and not so much more like, okay, like here's a music video. Like as much as I love shooting music videos, and I think I will still keep doing them regardless, right? But I want to do more bigger picture stuff, and I want to shoot a movie soon, hopefully. Hopefully soon.
Dope, bro.
I've always wanted to shoot a movie, bro. I just think it would be so cool.
Do you have a premise on what you want it to be, or are you going to leave that all personally, like when it comes to what you want to film?
I'm not really sure what I want. I have like an idea, I journaled it down, but it's just more like when the opportunity presents itself, then I know it will work out. But at the moment, there's not really. It's more like, you know those things. It's like when you're a kid, you're like, oh, I want a Lambo. It's like that. Like I want to shoot a movie one day soon, hopefully.
Yeah, nice. I've always, not always. It's only been a few years where I'd love to shoot a documentary.
Yeah, same.
That'd be a crazy fulfilling pursuit that I want to go down. It's always been like, what do I do? I'm kind of juggling the idea of what I want to do now. I'm not willing to put it out in case someone steals it. Hasn't been done yet. But just having those big visions, bro, especially hearing them from you, I fucking love it, bro. Like being able to hook people up together. If you know talented individuals that don't even necessarily know each other all the time too, the power of networking isn't just a personal level of progression or satisfaction. It's like when you can hook two people up together and let them do their thing.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's the real benefit of magic, bro. Like,
yeah, hard. I feel that.
I watched this crazy documentary called The Defiant Ones. Have you ever seen The Defiant Ones? If you haven't, and for anyone who hasn't seen it, trust me, Netflix has it. It's a 4-part docuseries. It follows two individuals, Jimmy Iovine, who was a music producer back in like the 60s, I guess, 70s, and Dr. Dre. It follows both of their individual stories and how Dr. Dre went through. Everyone knows. First he was in a bit of a funk band before he went into NWA, and then DJ before NWA, and then it was leaving him, going to Death Row Records. Follows the same kind of journey with Jimmy Iovine. And then it shows them both hooking people up without touching anything, just introducing two people here. And then Jimmy Iovine lived a life where he knew so many different people, from music to fashion to politics to business, that he would host soccer games at his house, and he would invite politicians to play against rappers, and he would invite like creative directors to go against business people. Like it was like the power of networking that got shown in that by a non-selfish act as well was phenomenal.
Yeah,
the earth got changed. Bro.
Yeah, that's like even on a personal level, right? Like that's how I met. Like me and Thursday, we work pretty much all the time together. He's like my main, like he's one of my closest friends too. And through like that process, right? Like After Party introduced us together. Like I would have never met him if After Party didn't invite me to the show, right? But he stayed up with me that whole night, editing the video with me, and we just kind of clicked. And that's what happens, right? Like when you connect two people, they can either not click or click. Yeah. And if they click, then it's like a really good way to bond over people, right? Like even like with you today, like I came on this podcast. I've never met you before, but we're having like this crazy conversation. So it's like,
and this was like from Saun, like he just let it cook, bro. Like
it's just like you. I think that's how I met a lot of my friends too. Like just people like even Sonny over here. Like I've met him through like we went to school together. I swear to God, I did not know this guy until like we came out, and then I met him through After Party. He's one of After Party's close friends, and then we've clicked since then too. And we kind of have like the same like upbringing and stuff. So it's like. You just kind of click with people once you meet them through other people, and that's just how life works in general.
Yeah, it's madness, bro. It's madness. Yeah. And even through Saun, I work with a lad named Jono. Shout out to Jono. He hooked up that episode, which hooked up this episode, which is going to hopefully continue to grow in not just a form of getting guests, but also grow friendships tighter. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like it's amazing. You made a good point with that silo that you drove past. Were you talking about the service station that broke? That's like on the main road, like 10 minutes away, 5 minutes away.
It's like down that way, and it's like a silo on the other side of the train station, I think.
Oh, okay, from that direction. Okay, I thought you were talking about this other thing on the way, which might be an interesting spot anyway. I'll talk about it after, but made me think, how often in your day-to-day life do you see a moment like that and want to capture it?
Oh, bro, let me show you, bro. let me show you. I have this note in my app wherever I'm driving past something or like I'm walking past something, and I'll just take a photo of it, or like I'll put it down. Like I have this ideas for a music video note, right? And it's just like pages of like information and like.
Is that on notes?
Yeah, just quick screenshot it, put it in, circle the area that I wanted to do, and it just like it kind of keeps you finding new things and new places, right? Like certain things that like a lot of I think of music videos, they're very like cut and paste, like studio lights, cars, money, strippers. That's it. That's a hard music video done.
Yeah.
But then like if you find like an interesting location, you can kind of like jazz it up a little bit. Like, oh shit, like where the fuck is this? Like even Wenji Powerhouse, that's in their area, and it's like a very interesting. Like you'd only know about it if you were from that area. You know what I mean? Like if you were from Tregear, like you'd know like oats. It's like that. It's like it's like you know about it because you've been there and you've experienced it. Right, so I think I like incorporating that into my music videos a lot.
Yeah, sure. I love that too. So and to be honest, I can imagine looking at the world in that way, you'd find a lot of the beauty in life. You know, I know that when I go down life with an avenue of like I'm going to the city, and this is an easy example for me with driving. Yeah. I have no sense of direction. I don't understand where anything is. I couldn't tell you how to get to the fucking local shops, but I just don't get it because I do not notice the world around me. I have an idea of the destination. Yeah. I know it's all about the journey, but I don't get it. Right? I don't get it.
I'm just tunnel vision.
Yeah. I can imagine walking around with an open mind of this is a nice spot to capture this and driving past something to be like, that's awesome. Yeah. You'd see a lot of the hidden artistic beauty in life itself, bro.
Like, bro, let me tell you a story. Like, fuck, I was going to Canberra with my older brother once, and bro, he dumbass missed the turn, bro. One of the main turns too. Like, we were on this fucking road for like
feels,
bro,
feels,
like fucking like 100 kilometers. We were cooked, and it was like 8 p.m. We were low on, like, we were hungry. We were low on fuel. We turned into some fucking street. It was like this mum and dad owned like restaurant at the back of a farm. Mum Soul, bro, best burger I've ever had in my life. Wow. And like that's something you would have never like experienced if you didn't just fuck up. Or like a lot of my friends say this, like I always do side missions. Like I went to Korea for 4 weeks by myself.
What?
And I was just, bro, first day there, I was helping an old lady carry up boxes up a hill. And then that ended up getting me like free food at this restaurant that's like I never would have tried. I didn't even know what this restaurant was. Damn, like it was just like I think probably because of my ADHD. I'll be real. Like, I just end up doing shit. Like I get distracted. I'm like, oh, fuck it, I'll go do that. It's just always like, it's like I love just doing shit, bro. Like it's just fun
With an open
to me.
mind,
Yeah,
bro.
it's
With an
fun to
open
me.
mind.
Yeah, I don't get too stressed out about things too much. I'm like, oh fuck, we missed the exit. Like at the moment, it's like, oh fuck. But you're like, okay, well I'm here now. There's no point stressing over it. Like I might as well just enjoy what I have here.
It's making me think for the first time in my life, because I notice a big difference between people who have any form of creative expression and people who don't. And it's like, I'm not saying either one is the right way to even live your life. I just noticed the similarities between different types of people. Like it's just part of my analytical brain, especially by having as many conversations as I do. Yeah. I think that someone who's creative probably has more of an open mind, because the more I learn about creativity, the more it kind of, you have to let go of a lot of things and you have to let things kind of happen naturally. You know, if you are someone who is say for example, freestyle rappers, you know, the most talented ones are the ones who aren't putting too much thought into what they're trying to say. They're letting it kind of flow through them. Yeah. And that's realistically as open as you can get, because you're no longer fixated on a way of thinking. You're allowing things to come in and back out. Yeah. So there might be a link between someone who is open to the world around them to try new things, but to also someone who's able to express life itself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's making
I think, I feel like a lot of like the artists that I'm inspired by kind of just let it be. Like one of my biggest inspirations is Basquiat, and he just painted whatever he wanted to. Like if you consider a traditional painting, he's the complete opposite of it, right? And he just kind of did what he thought was cool and just did what he was inspired by, and that's what made him millions of dollars, right? So it's like, I think there is definitely a link. I'm not saying that it has to be a link, but I'm saying there's probably definitely a link between that. And like not even just like life, like even just like the media you consume, right? Like I'll watch a TikTok one day and I'll be like, oh shit, that was kind of cool. Save that. Yeah. Watch it back later. It's like, okay, yeah, maybe I could do something like this. It's just like, I think your brain is constantly gathering references for whatever you want to do in life. Yeah. Constantly. Like, bro, like sometimes I get inspired by tattoos. I'm like, oh yeah, this is hard. Yeah. What the fuck? Like, this would be dope.
It's so sick as well. The more you start to open up the idea to interest that you have, when you have one common form of expression, like for your example, it might be, just to say, photography, capturing a photo or orchestrating a music video or something like that. When you see, you can start to link so many different things together. You know what I mean? You hear a song, you see a vision. Let's put those two things together. Yeah. You have a photo, you know, a painter. Put those two things together. It's collaborations. Don't just go between two individuals. Collaborations happen between genres. Yeah. That's why I notice the best collaborations aren't necessarily like, easy example might be Chillin' It and Lizzie when they did Stand For. I love that song. Great, easy Aussie reference. Yeah. But when Morgan Wallen just did Post Malone and they came together and made whatever that song was called. Yeah, bro,
it works. It works. It works so good too. I'll give you like I don't know. Do you know who Forbats is?
I don't think so. No.
He's like a rapper that's blowing up right now out of America, right? And he has like love songs that are sped up, so they sound like real high pitched and shit. But his music videos, a bunch of balaclava wearing dudes with gold chains out throwing up gang signs. I'm like, this shit is hard, bro. Like, it looks so tough.
That's dope, bro.
When you bend genres like that, it just always, because it confuses you to the point like you're intrigued. Yeah. It always ends up looking tough.
Yeah, yeah.
It just always does. Or even like Lil Yachty, he had a music video come out with Cole Bennett recently where he's like laying down in the water and it looks so peaceful. But he's talking about, I'll strike you like a holster. Like, he's talking some gangster shit over some serene water. Like, that sounds hard.
Yeah, dude, that's so dope. And I even see it in this form of fashion, to be honest, lately in my own life. There's so many different styles and I can't find myself fitting in necessarily. Like, there's, you know, Australian scenes, there's a bit more of like an artistic scene. Like, there's so many different forms of fashion. And lately I'm like, why don't we just start merging two different styles together? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, why not have the bottom half hood as fuck, top half business, bro?
I feel you, bro. I look so, bro, sometimes, because I'm from Western Sydney, bro, not born, but bred in Western Sydney.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like today, I was like, all right, I'll wear the forces. But mum saw most of the times, I'll be in my TNs, my 270s, my 97s, my 95s. Like, like I like incorporating. I think it looks tough when like especially Aussie culture gets incorporated with like that.
Yeah.
So hard.
Of course. And the
So
top
hard.
half, bro, it's culture, it's fashion,
Yeah.
stylistic. I mean, like, why doesn't anyone merge those two together, bro? Like, no one's wearing a mad new drop of TNs, but also wearing a bit more of a floral,
Yeah.
flanny. It could be like a, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I'm trying to
Yeah.
get at? Like, it's hard to articulate it, but I can visualize it.
Yeah, same. Bro, I need the Tiffany TNs.
Oh,
Tiffany TNs have been on my goat checkout for so long. I just can't pull the trigger on it. Like, fuck, that's a lot of money for some TNs, bro.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. Like, even like the hat I'm wearing right now, right? Like, I got it in Korea and it has like flowers.
It's
and-
dope, bro, yeah.
Thank you, bro.
It's like- you know what's hectic too? You know the eyebrow slit lines
Yeah.
up perfectly with the fucking
That's why I get it
stem?
on this side instead of this. But like, yeah, like it has flowers and shit, right? But then when I'm back in the area, it's like, oh, that's kind of like you wouldn't wear that in the area. But then you look at my feet and I'm wearing like TNs. It's like, what the fuck's going on there? Or like I'll have like my Louis bum bag on or something like that. Like something that's so stereotypically area. And even just like the way we speak, right? Like you can kind of tell. Like I had a conversation with someone from uni the other day, and he's from North, and you can kind of tell, like, bro, like we're different people. Like we did not have the same. Like
Yeah.
we even spoke English differently. Like I said the word H to him. He's like, what do you mean H? It's like H-Y. He's like, what the fuck does that mean? I was like, hey, look, bro, don't worry about it. It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, bro. Even and what we're getting at too is like it's that combination of combining Western language and linguists to like a North Shore type of you know stylistic, or even in the way combining two different languages together. You know, I hear people that have ethnicity talking in English and also talking in their native language at the same time in conversations with the people that they're from. I'm like, that's fucking sick, bro.
Like, bro, I noticed that too so much. Like, I'll be speaking complete English at home, then I'll switch into my language, like Bangla, to my mom, and the way I speak Bangla will be different because I was speaking English beforehand. Whereas, like, if I started the conversation in Bangla, then my English afterwards will be different. So it's like, it's cool to think about, like, how that shit, like, impacts, like, your afflection and, like, just all that shit in general. Like, it's gangster to think about.
Yeah.
Trips me out sometimes, though.
It's madness. It's madness.
Trips me out sometimes.
I'm going to bring this back to your Instagram. Do you look at Instagram and social media in itself as a way of marketing, or do you just use it as a form of social media, like as in personal day-to-day life?
So I don't have a personal Instagram. So my Instagram journal is just marketing for me. It's like a portfolio, right? Because what I do, I can't put it up on like a LinkedIn or something. Like as much as I can, like put a link. No one's really out here booking music videos through LinkedIn, right? And my Instagram is my body of work, and I don't use it as social media as much. Like I don't really I'll send memes to my friends and that, but it's more like I use it as marketing and social media, like to promote, like not promote per se, but just more like it is promoting. I'm promoting my own work and promoting like, oh yeah, look, I did this or stuff like that.
Yeah, I could tell, which is what I think is a beneficial tool to use these apps for.
Yeah.
It's not something that I've even considered my entire life until literally 3, 4, 5 months ago. Like I only to be honest, I delete and download social media apps like I'm going out of fashion. Like I only made my Instagram again when I started episode 1 of the podcast. I've been using that Instagram ever since that day.
Yeah.
And I do use it as a bit of a personal expression. Like I post photos of me and my mates and my family and friends and things like that too, but I also use it to promote the podcast in itself. And I'm curious as to, on your end, how much do you have any form of schedule or routine, or do you want to be able to post an X amount of times, or do you only use it when you feel like what you have is what you want to show off? Like, are you trying to reach a certain number of things to show off? Because if we're monetizing at the end of the day through our apps, it is beneficial to use that to our advantage.
Yeah, like I'm always at a dichotomy with myself when it comes to that, bro. Because it's like I know, fuck, like I should really be posting like a reel a week or like this and that. But then I feel like I'm just not happy with what I'm putting out if I'm doing that so constantly. So I'm like, fuck, like I don't want to do that. But then I'll have like these moments where it's like, fuck, okay, I'm gonna start posting this. Like recently, I started posting a lot more. And then I kind of
noticed a spike. That's why I'm asking the question. I did notice a spike.
And then I just gave up again. It's more like when I'm happy, I have the idea that I should probably post more, but pretty much the whole time I've had the Instagram has been like, okay, I'm happy with this. I'm just gonna post it.
Yeah, yeah.
I just get too excited. I'm like, fuck, I can't hold this for more. Take it. Look at it. Look at it. Yeah.
I get that approach too because I have a system and a routine in place because it helps with my episode weekly. And sometimes it does take away the fun of what you want to post or what I need to post. I just have to make a point. I'm not even suggesting you should do it because I might change it myself. Having a routine-based posting system. One of my favorite authors is Robert Greene. You ever heard of Robert Greene? He wrote books like The Laws of Human Nature.
Yeah.
And then he has done a few in between there as well. But I was watching an interview with him once and he explained, I don't even know if it was this that I got it off, to be honest. I might retrack it. It was either him who said it or someone else who said it. No, it wasn't. It was my mate Daniel who told it to me. Shout out to Daniel. He told me.
Massive difference between mate Daniel and Robert Greene.
I heard them both on the same day. That's why I got confused. He told me there's a difference between AU stress and EU stress. So there's stress feeling pressure from a situation that you would like to change, and there's stress from a point of time wise. So I remember why I got Robert Greene confused because I also heard him talk about the fact that when he has creative freedom to be able to write the book he wants to write, he might get a signed contract to publish. I need a book. Yep, sweet, no worries. He'll start the process of reading the book. He might be 4 chapters into a 12-chapter series. Could take him 2 years to get those couple chapters, and they'll turn around and say, we need this book in the next 3 months or you lose your contract. Bro, 3 months? It's taking me 2 years to get 3 chapters, bro. He feels that stress hit him hard. He genuinely feels like the amount of quality work that gets produced knowing there's a deadline that he has to achieve amplifies so much more. You know, like I know it feels like from a creative point of view that we are losing that touch of what we want to put out there, but part of me also feels like what we are putting out there amplifies and gets better because there's a narrow window of time we have to reach.
I fully agree with you, bro. Like I think having a deadline is so important, especially for someone like me where like I'll get distracted and I'll forget about a project if I don't have like, okay, so this song's already up, I need the music video out by release day. The release day is in 12 days. Like you need to cook it in between that. I know for a fact I'll get it done. But then if you came and told me like, oh, like I don't know if I'm gonna drop the song, but you know, like I want to shoot a music video, like I'll still be down to do it and I'll still probably finish it, but it's like
goes on the back, man.
Yeah, it's like, okay, fuck, I got heaps of time, I'll figure it out later.
Yeah.
Whereas like I keep going back to paranoia, but paranoia was one of the most stressful experiences of my life.
Yeah.
But
I bet you're proud of that.
Oh,
bro.
so like I still to this day I think it's one of my strongest music videos for sure. But like paranoia was like the song's already uploaded. The song comes out in a week and a half. You got 2 days to film, so you got like 5-6 days. You got to finish it, bro.
Yeah.
And then I ended up finishing it like 3 days early too. I've always been proud of myself for my turnaround time. That's just something I've always been. It's the ADHD, bro. Just like fuck, I get home, like fuck sleep. I'll just cook it. I'll worry about tomorrow later. So yeah, it's just my ADHD kind of helps me in that sense. But sometimes though, having a deadline does fuck me over because it's like it's too stressful to the point where like I can't execute anymore. I'm too cooked now. I can't do this no more.
Yeah. And that only comes from experience of knowing what's a realistic time in which it can get put out or not, you know? I do it all the time, bro. People are like, yo, can you get this video done for me? I'm like, yeah, no stress, no worries, I can do it. And I think to myself, oh yeah, I'll get it done that day, or I'll find some time that day. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey bro, can you get this done in the next 24 hours? Fuck. I definitely could have done this before, you know? I definitely
You're looking at yourself like, damn, I had so much time. What the fuck was I doing?
Here I was on Netflix, YouTube, TikTok.
You start thinking about like all the shit that you watched recently and you're like, fuck, like that hour I wasted watching this one episode, like I could have definitely just edited this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I feel you.
When you are consuming content, obviously you're a contributor as well. It's 2 words that I'm always trying to preach to the audience, whoever listens, that I'm a massive consumer. To be honest, hyper consumer. I don't just consume content. I consume nicotine. I consume caffeine like a motherfucker. Junk food. I consume all day, every day. That's all I do. But consuming content was one of those things where I analyzed it and went, you know what, it's time to start contributing to this same beast that I'm a part of. Mm-hmm. When you are consuming in order to contribute, meaning that you're finding your inspiration, your wisdom, you're watching these music videos and you're like, yeah, I like parts of this, I like parts of that. What's your go-to? What's the number one things you're incisive to, whether it be genres or artists or directors that you go, I like what they're doing, I like the stories they're trying to tell, I want to take bits from that?
Yeah, like I think for me, it's like I'm always inspired by pretty much everything I've ever watched, bro. I can't lie to you. Like, there's always something in something that I'm like, oh, that's hard. Like, I watched this movie, I don't know if you watched it, Monkey Man recently.
I haven't seen it.
Bro, it's so good.
Yeah?
And I related to it crazy because it's about this brown kid that grows up, and like it's just the storytelling, the mythology use, everything, the way it's shot, perfection. Like, I've watched this movie 3 times. Watched it with this guy once, watched it by myself once, and watched it with one of the other homies once. Like, I've watched this movie 3 times.
I'm
Like,
watching that movie now. Yeah,
it's perfection. Like, it's actually, I think it's on Amazon now. You can just buy it.
nice.
It's so good. Or like, but I'm also blessed in the sense where it's like everyone around me is kind of creative. I have musicians, even my girl's a painter. Like, everything around me is just like serious and artistic in a sense. Like, everyone around me, because I like being a part of like-minded people. Not saying that I don't have friends that aren't like-minded, but people that are constantly around me are very like-minded to like how I think and how I am, and just like me as a creative person. So I think that's where I gain a lot of like my references from too. But bro, I can't lie to you, I'm addicted to watching music videos.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes I just turn on my TV and I just, you know how YouTube has the autoplay feature?
Yeah.
I play one music video that I like, I'll just let it show me like 60
Yeah.
different other music videos, and I'll just keep watching them. Because there's always something that you could pull out of. Like, even this light setup, like the way you have your softboxes set up, I can kind of like, okay, wait, this could kind of work in a different setting. Like, if I ever want to do a music video where the guy starts off doing a podcast,
Yeah.
like, okay, like this light setup could, this light setup could work.
Yeah,
It's like
dope.
that.
Yeah, that's dope. Speaking of music videos, then, did you ever watch that music video that just not brand new but Red Rum with
Yeah,
21?
so hard.
Fuck, that was insane.
So hard. And
That
it's
shot from the joints perspective.
crazy.
Fuck off.
Crazy. Like, how do you come up with that? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
That's the shit that I see
yeah,
now. You know.
Yeah, and that's what I do. Like, a lot of music videos I watch, I search up. Like, I watched this music video for this old Tory Lanez song called "Jokes on Me," and I searched up the BTS because, bro, there's a scene where they tie him up and they dump him in the lake, and I'm like, there's no way they threw Tory Lanez in the lake. Like, it's just not happening.
yeah.
It's like, how the fuck did they like pull this off? And it's such a cool perspective too, because it looks like it's Tory, but it's not him.
Yeah.
You can tell that it's not him, because who the fuck's gonna throw Tory Lanez in the lake?
Motherfucker ain't getting wet, right?
Yeah, he's a multi-millionaire, bro. He doesn't have to do shit.
Yeah.
That's what I do. Like, I just watch music videos, and even the Red Drum music video, I watched the behind the scenes on it, and I was like, holy shit, this is interesting. They put a magic arm on the camera with the joint in front of it, and then they VFX the magic arm out later. I was like, that's so simple, but it's so like ingenious, because it's such like a random perspective. Like, magic arms are so cool, bro, because you can get so many cool different perspectives. Like, I saw an ad, I think this was Shavas Regal, if I'm correct, but it was like the point of view of a cup, like a wine glass, and like the wine glass on a tray, like being passed around. Like, that's a perspective you never see unless some guy up here was like, oh, that would be hard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, shit like that.
And
Mad cool.
And that type of stuff is what's so interesting for me. Like, I've had this thought idea that I probably won't ever go down, but I might. But let's just use currency as an example. I thought about the perspective of currency for years and years and years. Imagine what it would look like being a fucking coin, being a $5 note, and going around the world from that perspective. And then it kind of led me down an idea that I'd like to try out one day, of telling a story of a movie from the perspective of something that gets passed around. Like, you think you're watching the story of two people in their lives and their drama, and their domestic, whatever it could be, but it turns out you're watching it from the perspective of the $5 note's a good example. And then when that gets handed over to someone else, you're watching a brand new story.
That's a crazy idea, bro, because it kind of reminds me of the movie Love Actually.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see so many stories in one, right?
Yeah.
Like, if I have a $5 note in my pocket right now, say I got it from the chip shop down the road, that too would have heard a conversation. If it's a family owned, like, they would have heard that. Then it would have come to me, stayed in my wallet, would have seen my family, my this, and then I would have passed it on. It just continues on. That's a crazy. You should write a script for that, bro.
I got a
you
few,
can sell that.
I got a few
that.
ideas like that I'm trying to work on. It's just like, how much time do I have left?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, speaking of time and how much time we're willing to put into our passions and things like that, what do you do outside of capturing? Do you work? What do you do at the moment?
Yeah, I work. It's just normal work, bro. Nothing too crazy. Massive MMA geek,
Yeah, nice.
jiu-jitsu geek. I do jiu-jitsu myself.
Nice.
Yeah, like just I've always been like an athletic person growing up. Played footy, played wrestled, jiu-jitsu, boxing, kickboxing, all that.
Guys, that's so sick. I'm a massive fan of fighting myself. I'm not a big information nerd when it comes to MMA itself, but I'm interested in it as fuck. I've always done some form of training, whether it be boxing, kickboxing, and things like this. Where you said you're from Western Sydney, whereabouts have you done jiu-jitsu and places like this?
Gracie is always, that's just the one in Bankstown. That's just always
Yeah.
I've come out to Alexandria a lot too for the Gracie out here, but recently I haven't been doing much. But just my shoulder's been. I tore my rotator cuff practicing for a comp, and then since then it's just been. I go physio, bro. That's about it. Like, I can't do much. I can barely like articulate this arm as is. But yeah, like jiu-jitsu is like a massive aspect of my life for sure. Like
Nice.
I even trained out in Korea while I was there because I trained out at the gym. Do you watch a lot of UFC?
I can't say I really do. Not anymore. I don't leave myself the time for it. Yeah.
Fair enough. But there's a UFC fighter called the Korean Zombie.
Yeah, I know the Korean.
I
He's
went
a beast.
Yeah, hard cut. I went and trained out in his jiu-jitsu gym just because like it's interesting, and I learned stuff there. Yeah, like jiu-jitsu and wrestling plays a massive role in my life for sure.
Nice.
Outside of like shooting. Yeah.
Nice. And what about this idea to just get up and go to Korea? I think you said you just went for 4 weeks. Just
Yeah,
on
so
your
it
own.
was like an exchange thing for school. But bro, I sort of I did not study once there. I was in uni, but I did not go to one class. I was just there just living.
Yeah.
And I just came back from Japan. I was there in April for like 2 weeks.
Damn.
Just save up, go. Like
That's a good way to live your
Yeah.
life, bro. I'm a massive advocate in that kind of shit. Like I try and go overseas as much as possible. I'm excited. I got one coming up in a couple months' time, and then
excellent.
I'm already planning the next one, bro. The next one. Like,
Yeah, like it's just like I'm young, so I don't like what am I saving for if I can't experience it? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
yeah.
like I look at Combank and it's like, okay, X amount of money, but fuck, like what is that gonna do for me? Like
Yeah.
I'm not spending it on nothing. And like,
Yeah.
okay, like I can buy clothes and this and that, but that's like all just momentary, right? Like, but I'll be able to tell this story of how I partied for 5 days straight in Korea for generations to
Yeah,
come. Like,
of
you know what I
course.
mean? Or like how I ended up getting a job as a dishwasher in Korea just because I didn't have money on me at the time and I needed food at dinner. And I was like, hey, I'll work for free. Just give me dinner when we close.
Yeah.
It's like that. Like,
That's dope.
just like random shit that you know. Like, because I think when people travel, you become a lot less caring about like
Monetary shit like that.
Yeah, and it's more like you just become less like if I'm out and about here, I still think about a lot more stuff like, oh, he might know me or he might this and that and this. Whereas like if I'm over, it's like, who the fuck knows me here? No one knows me here. Like I could do whatever I wanted. Don't be disrespectful to the locals outside.
Yeah.
Don't do that. People did that in Japan a lot and that shit pissed me off.
Wow.
But just like being more carefree, I guess that's the right word.
It's also very present. It's a very present existence when you're overseas, you know, especially if you don't go with. I go on a lot of holidays where we have day activities booked in all the time.
Yeah.
Like I get excited for shit like that, so I book a lot in advance. But then when you get there, it's go.
Yeah.
For the holidays I go on where there's nothing booked, bro. Like
That's why Korea was so good. I did that in Japan where I booked too many things. I was like, fuck, this is ass. Like, I can't wait to go home.
It's not even relaxing.
Yeah, I'm
bro.
tired, man.
Yeah,
Fuck. And bro, everything in Japan is small as. The
Yeah.
room I was in was like a prison cell.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, why am I back in Silverwater? Like, what the fuck's going on? But it's like, and I just wasn't like fully resting. Like I got off the plane on vacation mode and I left stressed out.
Yeah.
But in Korea, I had nothing planned. I was supposed to go to class once a day, and that's it. And they
Yeah.
paid for everything for me, so it was like, I have all this money, I have all this. I'm not going to class. Might as well just go out and explore. And that's what I did, bro. I think I solo walked like half of Korea. I can't lie. Like, it was so funny. Like it's just, like you just do shit when you don't have anything booked in, right? Because you're not gonna. I think when you're on vacation, you become a lot more like, okay, fuck, I don't only have like this amount of days. I should really experience it.
Yeah.
So you just end up doing stuff.
Yeah. What is it that are you still in uni or you were in uni?
Yeah, I'm still in uni.
What is it that you're doing at uni?
So I'm doing a double degree in media and communications and neuropsychology.
Damn, that's a fucking sick one. So obviously the media and communications is a cool one that suits your passions and pursuits.
Yeah.
Is it beneficial going down a path like that?
I've never been an advocate for school that teaches creativity, like creative subjects. I just think it puts you in such like a line, and that's it. You don't get to like people like my biggest teacher has been YouTube. I can't lie. Like
Yeah.
I've learned nothing from school about what
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
They will teach you like history of things and that, but I've never like been like a performing arts kind of guy. Like I just don't think, in my opinion at least, it funnels creativity the best. I think creativity is like a spark inside you, and you kind of do your own research and whatever you want to do to build that.
Yeah.
So like the media communications, I picked it before I started shooting anything, and I was like, oh yeah, this is what I want to do, because it was the promise of, oh, you're gonna shoot movies in uni. Fuck that, bro.
Yeah.
I think I learned how to turn on a camera at uni like fucking 2 months ago. I was like, bro, what the fuck? They taught me how to set up a tripod. I was like, man, come on, please.
Yeah.
Like, I did this yesterday and the day before. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
But yeah, like the media degree is just, I was gonna drop it, but it's just I've been in it for 2 years and I have a year left. I might as well just see it through.
Yeah, of
So
course.
I'm gonna have to pay the student loan anyways. Might as well just
Of
see it
course,
through.
of course.
And then neuropsychology was more just, I've always been interested in psychology. So I was like, yeah, that's something I would, because I still, end of the day, no matter how much I shoot music videos or whatever I want to do, I still want a degree to my name. So I was like, fuck it. And that one was, God forbid if this shit ever like falls through the roof, I have a backup plan.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, yeah, nice. So first off, the class that you do with the non-creative side of media communication, the people that share that class with you, do you find a lot of shared mentality, or do you find that they're there to learn the creativity that they don't have?
It's hard because the classes I'm in, bro, they're so boring that no one really speaks.
Yeah, okay.
And the things we discuss is just like, you're not sparking no like interest, lifelong interest in anything with the things we speak about. It's just not happening.
Yeah.
But I've met some really cool people. A lot of like some of my friends I've met from those classes, and they're very like similar to me in the way they think creatively. But I think also because where I go to uni is so up north, I go to Macquarie, so it's like it's so up north. I can't relate to a lot of people there, so I don't have like a lot of people that I know in uni. It's more like people that I met outside that go to my uni that I've met.
Yeah.
But my two friends that I met from my classes, they are from West Doonside, so like
Yeah.
I can kind of relate to them more. Not saying that I can't relate, but it's more just
Commonality. Yeah, definitely. And what about this neuropsychology side? That when I'm done with my trade and I feel like I've reached a certain ceiling in which I'm happy to step out of, I wanted to try my second career, which I actually want to do psychology as a career. Is it something that you're actually interested in doing, and do you find interest in the human psychology?
Yeah, I would be. I like the end goal is to open my own clinic and have like, my own clinic and have people working under me. It's turn it into a business essentially. But I am very like, when I was in school, my main interest was like, okay, I'm gonna end up this path, because I was inspired by the psychologist that I met, Duncan. Crazy psychologist, bro, the calmest guy.
Yeah.
And it's so funny too, because he's like, you look at him and he should be like physically like, you shouldn't be calm around him, because he's like 6'6",
Yeah.
white guy, bearded, like, and he's the calmest guy. He speaks like this. Hey Deean, how you going? Like, he just always sits, and his room always smells like incense. And when I was speaking to him, I was like, damn, this guy can really help people. And I think that's what drew me to psychology, because I've been around people in my life where they, especially men, we don't talk too much about like, oh, like, bro, I'm feeling down. And if it is, it's like, oh, bro, you'll be sweet, you'll get over it. You know what I mean? Like, we kind of just brush it off. Whereas like, I think everyone in their life needs a psychologist or needs someone to talk to at least. And that's just how that interest sparked. Since then, it's been, like, I'll be so down to do it.
Yeah, damn, that's mad. I have a psychologist in my personal life. I think it's a super beneficial tool. Not just from a place of like, I feel like I need work to get fixed on, which is also a good fact of it. You know, if you can use it as a channel to try and talk to yourself sometimes, you know, it's beneficial as fuck, but it's also beneficial to discuss what's going good, not just what's going bad in your life. I think a psychologist is a great idea. Are you still seeing a psychologist now, or was it just a chapter you were doing at the time?
Not at the moment, but sometimes I feel like I should probably go back or something like that. But
it's just costly, eh? Fuck, it's costly.
Yeah, especially like private psychologists, bro. Fuck.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. You get the free 10 Medicare, and then after that, it's like, fuck, bro. Like, I'm going broke out here.
Bro, it's not even free anymore, bro. Medicare will give you 13 weeks at a levy. So, bro, you're still paying hundreds of dollars to go. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, I don't have one at the moment, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. I think everyone, even if you have nothing going on in your life, bro, and you're not necessarily sad about things, it's still important to just have someone to talk to, right? Like, there's this thing called cognitive behavior therapy, right? And I did it when I was seeing one. And it's like, bro, it's crazy. It was like hypnotized me. It's this light bar that goes left to right, left to right, left to right. And it gives you like these haptic feedbacks. Do you play PlayStation?
I used to play Xbox.
You know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
when it vibrates in your hand, it's this thing that vibrates left to right, right? And it just hypnotizes you. And Duncan was like telling me things, like asking me questions, and it unlocked everything in my brain. Like, you know, like because your brain stores things in the back of its head so you don't stress out all the time.
Yeah.
But he unlocked so much, and I felt very like content with myself after that.
Yeah.
And bro, the sleep I got after that, because your brain works so hard. I slept for like I think 20 hours after that. I was conked, just straight.
Oh wow, full natural sleeping pills, bro. That's nuts.
It was crazy.
Yeah, that's sick. You mentioned in the beginning of the podcast and again now that men don't necessarily talk actively about their thing, which is why journaling was a good expression for you. And now I agree with you. Psychology is a good place to do so as well. I think that we have the problem as men in our society to brush things off like, you'll be right. Bro, I do it about myself to others. If I've got something that I'm dealing with, I'll tell my mate what's been going on. Like, bro, shit's down bad at the moment. But I'll brush it off. I'll be like, yeah, but she'll be right. You know what I mean? Like,
she'll be right.
Because shit will be right. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to sit around and feel sorry for myself. I physically can't do it. Like, even if things are going bad,
for sure.
I'll just fucking find a way to feel better. I can't help it.
Sure.
And it's like, it's kind of that same point, which I notice girls say it to me all the time, bro, where it's like, I'm not looking for you to fix my problems. I just want you to listen. It's like, bro, I can't not.
I can't not do it, bro. Like, what?
Yeah, it's almost like as men, we have got the mindset to want to fix things. It's who we are. Yeah. So I think that when we have problems arise, and why I think a big problem we have as men to openly communicate what's going on is that we don't want to almost put the pressure on someone else to have to fix our problem, because that's what we naturally want to do to others.
And it's like this social stigma too, right? Like, you don't want to come off as like weak or nothing, so you don't like, you can't like be like, oh bro, like you probably could. Your boys would probably look at you the same way. Like if you went, oh bro, I cried today.
Yeah. Probably
look at you the same way, but as a man, you can't be like you start feeling a bit like, oh what the fuck, I look weak or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my girl stresses out about it all the time. Like I'll be telling, like she can tell when I'm down, right? And she'll be like, "Are you sure we're good?" And I'll tell her like, "Nah, I look like this is going on right now." But at the end of the sentence, I'll be like, "Nah, I'll be each though."
Yeah.
It's just always just, and she loses it over. She's like, "Fuck, like, you won't be like you're lying to me." But it's just like it'll sort itself out. Sometimes it does, and sometimes it does. But especially in Australia, we have that "she'll be right" mentality, and that's so detrimental, bro.
It's just what Australian culture is, bro. She'll be right.
She'll be right. I've seen people like break their arm. She'll be right. Bro, what do you mean? If you don't go to the hospital right now, what are you talking about? She'll be right. What?
Bro, I'm an advocate for it, bro. I don't like that fact that we have in society where it's you can't just let things out there. You kind of have to just convince yourself it's all going to be fine anyway. You know what I mean? It's like we can't allow ourselves to feel bad ever. Yeah, you can't. Yeah,
hard. And it's part of the human nature, right? To like, if you're happy all the time, you probably should see a psychologist more than someone who's sad all the time. Yeah. But it's part of the human psyche. Like you gotta work through things. Otherwise, you're not fully living, because you're kind of just like blocked off, and you just, okay, if I'm not feeling happy, then I don't want to feel anything. It's like that.
Yeah. And just quickly to touch on it as well, I'm curious, do you find the actual academic side of this course you're doing to be beneficial, this neuropsychology?
Yeah, for sure. Like that sort of thing is like you can't learn it by yourself, because you'll be taught by like industry leaders, or like you'll be taught things that you can't find on your own. Like something like media or art or anything like that, you can kind of find ways to do it yourself. Whereas like something like neuropsychology, or like, I don't know, like even business, let's say, like you can build a business ground up for sure, but it's that helping hand of like, I've done this, I have this ability, let me teach it to you. Yeah. Right? Like a lot of my professors are retired like psychologists, so they can give me like first-hand knowledge, or like they can hook up like a internship for me where I can learn more. So it's a lot more beneficial for me in class to be something like that instead of like media. I sound like a hater on the media course, but it's just like because I do it outside, so it's like I know like, bro, like you're not teaching me. Like you could have told me this day one. Like why am I still learning about history of fucking print and press? Like
Yeah, I
what?
heard someone else tell that to me actually on the podcast. They learned print and press in digital marketing.
Yeah, like what are
Yeah.
you talking about? Like I'm never gonna write newspapers. Like I'm
Yeah.
sure there's people in this class that want to write newspapers. That's fine, but like
Yeah.
there has to be like a common ground to have everyone in the class engaged, right? Like you can't, especially if I'm paying like by the end of uni, what you're in debt like 70 grand.
Yeah, that's
Plus?
nuts. That's nuts.
Yeah, like I gotta like I should be able to be interested once at least. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Come on.
And the difference as well is that it's something like ever growing, like social media, especially if that's the thing that you're trying to put out there. Even like say print and press, bro. That thing grew rapidly quick and changed as evolutionary. Within 20, 30 years, it was a whole different genre than it was in the beginning, like a whole different beast. Now you got like Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, and even every app is evolving so quickly, and the level is rising so fast with special effects and things like that it's almost hard to teach. But something like psychology is a research based what's the word I'm looking for, like when you go out and you do a study collected over like 100
It's
different
fact-based.
patients.
It's
fact
fact-based,
based, you know. How hard is it individual, how hard is it to be able to go get a collected pool of research? So for like we studied 10 patients for 10 years, 100 patients for 5 years. It doesn't matter what it is. We can't physically do that ourselves. You know? You have to kind of learn the information.
Yeah, like these sort of things, like the handbook that psychologists work of, the DSMV, like shit, that's like fucking years and years of collected data and like multi-million-dollar organizations funneling money into learn this thing about. You can't do that yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I could maybe run an experiment with you and Sunny in a room together, but that's not an accurate reading at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what would my control group be? I'll give you a placebo and not give him one.
yeah.
By that standard, I have a 50% success rate. Like, it doesn't make sense. You got to have like that
Census. Sorry, that's the word I've been looking for.
Census. Yeah, like that sort of thing is like something that needs to be taught instead of something you can just like look up.
Yeah. Well, it's funny how we were speaking about merging of genres before. I can see a big niche in being able to merge the human psychology and digital consumption as well. Like if you're putting out an image. So if you're going to illustrate a music video, if you're also aware of the way that the human mind can operate,
Oh yeah, for
you will
sure.
be able to use that information to help spark interests and needs and relations and emotions, and especially the emotional side of
For
things.
sure, bro. Like again, paranoia. Like the song's called Paranoia, right? And with my psychology background, like the first thing that came to my head, because the song he talks about like voices in the head and like, but in the song it's more from the perspective like people are talking down, but they don't know. But my psychology background immediately thought about like paranoid schizophrenia and how like people like have multiple voices and multiple faces that they see even though there isn't. So in the music video you'll see a lot of the takes are like blurry and it looks like there's 3-4 of him, or like paranoia inducing visuals technically, right? So it's like that is such a good mix in any sort of art form. Like you have to understand how the human psyche works to make anything really. Like when you edit a podcast, right? If you put music behind it, if I'm talking about like someone who passed away in my life, you're not gonna put on like happy acoustic string SFX. You know what I mean? You're gonna put on like samba piano, like something like that. So they kind of come hand in hand in manipulating each other to kind of work out for what you want.
Yeah, I love it. Have you ever heard of Sun Tzu?
Yeah, Art of War.
Yeah, was it him? I'm getting confused. No, maybe it was. Yeah, I think it was Sun Tzu. He said, "Become a master of one, become a master of all." I think Miyamoto Musashi had the same philosophy, the samurai, because. And I'm so confused now of whose quote I'm trying to go off. I'm merging two together, but it's the philosophy that if you become proficient at one thing, you'll become proficient at another if you follow the same principles it took to get to that next thing. So, say for example, a samurai and a carpenter, they're completely two different trades, but if you follow the same dedication and motivation and commitment to one, it's very easy to become a master of the next.
Yeah.
I think that any skill that we learn in life, it doesn't matter if we take it to the next skill that we want to go down, everything we learn has been so beneficial for that. My years of being a refrigeration and air conditioning mechanic have actually led to me getting better at podcast host. Like it's weird in a way, but the little things you learn about raising apprentices and being able to communicate better as an employee to an employer, and like all these little things actually make for good conversation skills
sure.
later on.
For sure.
So I can see how psychology and creating videos and stuff so
it's,
hand in
it's just
hand.
like the more life experiences you have, right? Like the like the more things you can do. Like if I were to raise you just in this room, you wouldn't be able to survive outside because
Yeah.
you wouldn't know what the fuck's going on. But whereas like if you've lived a life where you've just done whatever you've wanted to do at a point, you have more things to talk about, more things to draw experiences from, more things to just, live off of. So yeah, for sure. I fully agree with what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, dope. All right, well, to get towards the end of the podcast, I'm very grateful that I've got to know your mindset into how you like to orchestrate things, your passions inside of what's good, what's bad about both fields of everything you're doing. And what's something coming up that you're looking forward to in the form of, recording something or editing something that I can look forward to watching and also know what went on behind the scenes to get there?
Yeah, I got a couple music videos coming up, bro, that I'm really proud of. Couple with homies, couple with newer artists. Very proud of that. Yeah, just I guess just kind of look out for things that I'm gonna do soon. Not saying they're gonna be groundbreaking or nothing, but they'll just be more from a personal touch. And I think that's what I guess I would tell anyone that's like looking out for what I'm doing.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely going to be looking forward to anything that you're posting now, and also knowing the man behind the scenes of what it takes, bro.
Thank you,
Because
bro. I'm keen to see where this podcast goes and your other ones too. Because I was watching one of your other ones after Saun. I forgot her name.
was it a recent girl that came on? It
yeah.
would have been maybe Jessica.
Yeah, that one was interesting. Yeah, I'm keen to see where this goes, bro.
Yeah,
sure,
I'm very keen. I'm actually going on her podcast tomorrow.
Oh,
Very
yeah,
keen for
word.
that. So
Word.
for everyone who listens to this one, I'll put a link down for that one as well. Yeah.
Just countless links.
Yeah, no, links everywhere. Trust me. I'm gonna put a link to your painter friend from Colorado, from Toronto. Don't worry about that. Yeah. As one thing that I've really found amazing about hosting this podcast over the 100 episodes almost that I've been doing it is when I started the idea of having conversations with people and recording them and posting them, it was all based on dream guests of people I want to be able to talk to. It was like the Aussie rappers when I was into the Aussie scene. And then it was like the business owners of brands I like to wear, and just even someone like Joe Rogan as an easy example. Dream guests. The more I've been doing it, the more I'm realizing that I'm already having the conversations I want to have, because it's one thing to be able to look at someone who's done a lot from a distance and appreciate what they've done, but the journey is actually the most important part. And what I've been doing for the last 100 episodes is I've been listening to the origin stories of people before they become great, and I have no less than 100% faith in you and everything. If you continue the pursuit you're doing, you're going to be a well-known name, even if it's not globally, or even like, oh, we're going to be talking about this person for the next 100 years and everything they've achieved. Like, for anyone to achieve that is insane, to be honest. No one should even bother. But for the people that you know and for the genre which you're going down, I have nothing but faith in you.
Thank you, bro.
That you're going to make
Thank
an
you.
impact in it, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Like I say, bro, like I'm not a big podcast guy. I just don't have the attention span for it. But I actually sat through and watched like 2 of yours, and I was like, damn, this is like, it's actually kept me like entertained. And I was like, damn, this is actually pretty good. I just like, I would love to watch more, but at a certain point, I just get like, oh, my eyes hurt now. I'm gonna turn this off now. But I can say the same about you, bro. And it's like, because it's so refreshing, because you sound Aussie, look Aussie, like everything about you is like someone I would be friends with outside. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't, like outside of podcast, I would still be like talking to you. So it's like, it's interesting because I can like relate and like, oh yeah, shit, that's something I would know. Like you, I don't know, if you talk about a restaurant, I'm like, oh, I know what he's talking about because I grew up there.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate for any listen I get. Like, thank you for even those 2 episodes, bro. Trust me, they mean a lot to me. Trust me. The thing that I find that people listen to for is obviously because their mates have usually come on, so that's how they find it in the first place. But I'm just trying to meet and talk to as many interesting people as I can, bro. I learn as much as I can, and I feel like that's an interesting self-development journey that people are also on in their own lives anyway. You know, that's my relatability to anyone that listens. For sure. I'm trying to learn, and people want to learn, come for the journey, bro.
Yeah, hard. That's gangster. Yeah, I think the word that reminds me of your podcast is Sonder. I don't know if do you know that?
Nah.
Sonder just means like everyone has their own life going and has their own backstories. It's kind of like the butterfly effect, but it's like someone you meet, it's just a random NPC in your life, but to them you're the NPC and they have this whole life behind it.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when you have like these conversations with essentially like we're not like famous. Like if you had a conversation with Joe Rogan, you can kind of like, oh, I know you did this in 2006. Whereas
Yeah.
like if you ask me what I did in 2006, no one would know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
that, and that's what's so cool about it because it's like you just kind of like learn so much about people, and it's like, oh shit, like I would have never
Yeah.
expected that.
Yeah, and it's not like I'm changing my pursuit in which wanting to achieve the biggest guess there is to because you just find that bit of interest in like whatever they're doing, whether it be like an easy one, Hooligan House. I was listening to him on the way here. It's like, fuck yeah, I'd be sick to be able to sit down and talk to Hooligan House. But it's like, no longer is he any bigger of a name than anyone that I want to sit down with because we're all just people on a journey, bro.
Hard,
Everyone is the same. Everyone is interesting. And I find the most interest in people who are putting themselves out there. You know, it doesn't have to be someone who's achieved a lot. It just has to be someone who's actively putting themselves out on the internet.
Sure. Yeah, fully agreed, bro. I can't lie.
Yeah.
Like end of the day, you could have 1 million followers, but it's numbers.
Yeah.
If I can't talk to you as a human being, then fuck does that 1 million followers mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just,
Bro, you could have bought them anyway.
yeah, like there's probably AI bots, bro. Let's be real here.
Yeah, nah, it's sick, bro. But as I said, bro, this is the origin stories for everyone, not just for me, but for everyone who comes on and listens. I feel like I'm very blessed to be able to have this conversation with you in the first place, bro.
Thank you for having me, bro.
Yeah. Well, I've got one final question. All right? I can't let it go without being answered.
Yeah.
And it touches on that mental health men's factor thing that we talked about as well, where if someone came to you for a piece of advice, mostly because they felt depressed because they were just lost, what advice would you give to that person?
Well, one would be to go see a psychologist or a therapist because that's the most important thing that I can recommend to anyone. Like, it's so important to have like someone that you can talk to that's also a professional in that field. There's many free resources that you could you could use that the government provides that could be very helpful for you. And another one would be just to take every day by day, bro. Like, I think that's what helped me when I was feeling down, like just understanding like nothing lasts forever. And if you just persevere and strive through it, no matter how hard it can be, just talk to people, enjoy your life as much as you can, and just persevere. And at the end of it, when you come out of it, you'll feel so good. It's just like this massive weight being lifted off your shoulder because if you just live day by day, it's like, what's that? Is it Sisyphus? The guy who rolls the boulder up the hill?
Oh, yeah.
It's like that. Once you get to the top of the boulder, shit, life is good.
Yeah.
And that's just what life is constantly.
And it's the pursuit of pushing the boulder, to be honest, which is the main premise of
Once
it.
the hardships are gone, you'll be sweet.
A life without suffering isn't actually a life worth living in the first place, bro.
Yeah,
I honestly just 2 days ago read a story about a guy about living a life as a king's son and then like realized he had no suffering in his life. The dad was like, yo, I'm not letting you experience any bad shit about the world. And then one day when he kind of left the kingdom, he realized, oh shit, the world sucks. Look at all this poverty and sickness and famine, and went down that suffering route. And to be honest, I didn't realize until the end of the story, I was reading about Buddha. It was the origin of Buddha.
Yeah, I was about to say, it sounds like Buddha, bro.
yeah. And the premise of it is it's all about finding hardships to get over to then feel good about it, then finding another thing to be, it's creating better and better problems.
Yeah, I got against all odds tatted on my leg. Because that's what life is. Like, everything at the moment feels like, fuck, the odds are just, it's too heavy. I can't do it. But then when you get out of it, it's like, I did it against all odds. And it's just repeat. That's what I would, but the most important thing I would tell someone is to please go see a therapist or a psychologist because they will help you much better than I can. I can listen, but I can't help.
Yeah, that's mad, bro. Every episode is a brand new answer. It's fucking insane that no one has said the same thing twice and no one's ever said speak to a psychologist, bro. It's one of the most, and every answer is a great beneficial answer. None are better than any other ones, but it's interesting how many avenues there are to get help.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking to a psychologist, couldn't advocate it anymore. And the second point you made was just stick through it because things will get better. And my 4 favorite words that I heard in a row lately were "this too shall pass." Yeah. Doesn't matter if it's good or it's bad, bro. This too shall pass.
Yeah, I read I'm not Christian, but I read a Bible verse the other day that really stuck with me. I'll read it to you.
Yeah,
because I always write shit down, and it's like it says, "Forgive me, Lord, for not understanding your blessings by being blinded with my greed." And I think that stuck with me heavy, bro. Because I was like, "Yeah, you're right." Like, bro, we breathe every day. That's already such like a crazy thing to say. Like, I woke up this morning.
Yeah.
He came to my house. He went and got a haircut. I witnessed him get a haircut. I drove all the way out here. Like, there's so many things I've done today that someone couldn't have done today.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. Like,
Or just waking up today.
Yeah,
Bro. Whenever
hard.
I used to ask people, what's the most grateful thing you have to be alive today? And the most common answer, which was being alive today, bro.
yeah, hard.
You know, waking up was the best part of the day for me.
Yeah, hard. Going to sleep is probably the best part for me. I love sleeping, bro. But
Yeah.
hard.
No, I love it, bro. I appreciate all of it, bro. There's so much more that I love to go into depth with you about. I'm going to have to save it for a future episode because
that's
this isn't
alright.
enough time in this one.
That's all right.
Just through this crew that I've witnessed with you and Saun so far, and actually after party, someone that I've been messaging to. I don't know if I've messaged Thursday yet or not, but I've definitely heard his name twice now, so I'm going to
Thursday's
message him.
crazy.
I'd love to be able to get you boys on as a collected group. You know,
Yeah, that'll be hard,
awesome.
bro. That'll be gangster. I would love to do that one day. Yeah, for sure. I'll talk to the boys about it. Set it up with you. I'll tell them about you and stuff. Yeah, Thursday. If I believe in any of my friends, the most it would be Thursday. I genuinely believe that he'll be the next, like, out of Australia. Like, he will be like the next Kid Leroy.
Yeah.
Like the biggest export out of Australia for sure.
Damn.
His sounds is crazy. I'll play you some of his music after when the cameras are off.
Definitely.
And it's cooked.
Love
Cooked.
it, bro. Love
Cooked.
it. Well, dude, I couldn't thank you enough again. Like, I really, really do appreciate the time you give me today.
Of course, bro. Thank you for having me. Shout out to Doxy, bro. Shout out to Doxy.
Oh, man. Oh, man. All right. Well, for everyone listening, shout out to Doxy. Thank you for making it to the end of the episode. It was another amazing episode this week. There'll be another one next week. That's all right.
Shawty catch a vibe, had to put her on.
My babe died like 30 minutes ago.
Shawty going high, I ain't tripping for the funds. Yeah, I won't start, I ain't tripping, I'm a stunt.